All right. Hello. Happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome to this spooky stream. I am in costume. I'm extremely tired from the earlier stream today. I'd totally forgotten that we had one today, but I am here for it. Let's go. Sludge Strider. This is not a smooth brain build. This is going to be challenging, but I'm really pleased to have you all here, and y'all are going to have to backpack me a bit through this one. This is going to be a hell of a build. Can everybody check in and let me know? Am I coming through clearly? My mask isn't muffling anything too crazy. Yeah, Jonathan's saying day late with the Halloween for me. Yeah, well, this is the way it is for the folks in Australia and New Zealand. But here in the States, Halloween happening right now. Chris, thank you for the confirmation. I appreciate it, my dude. For those of you wondering, this is my ninja outfit. Got all the cool stuff on it. This is what I've been rocking for all the raves I like to go to as well. And I figured I will just jump into costume before stream. So it was like, 15 seconds until the stream started, and I was like running from my room to get the last pieces of it assembled. So anyways, we are here. We're ready to go. Hope everyone is having a great day. If you've got a chance, take a moment to give the video a like. If you haven't been here before, subscribe if you want to see more of this great content. And we're going to get started. So, Sludge Strider. So, Sludge Strider is a commander that I think was often overlooked in the past, primarily because it only hits one player. And I think that there's actually an element of political advantage to that. And part of that is that you only have to hit one player. So you can really target one person at a time. The other thing is that it is an ETB as well as an LTB. It does tax you to do that, but I think that the fact that it's any artifact means that we're just going to play a ton of rocks, and then those rocks are going to help pay for the ETB, LTB. The Breaking Bob, good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us today. So the idea with Sludge Strider that I've got is what if we played somewhere in the realm of like 15 to 20 mana rocks, and then these mana rocks are cards like lockets and clue stones that not only produce an ETB, but they also have their own LTB that they can pay for. And that is going to allow us to make an incredibly grindy control deck. I don't know that we're going to be building around any combos here. I think the card quality we're going to get just by playing good Esper cards is going to be really fabulous. So yeah, all right, we got 7 of you in here. Thanks for joining today. And let's get a roll here. Get a roll. I do have some cards that I've considered for this deck. So we're going to start with some of these. And I think we are going to start with just throwing some lands in here. And I think what we can do is we might even be able to go down on lands a little bit. Maybe like 34 might be the number. So we're going to do, just to start things off, we're going to do 17. I guess we could do 3, 3, and 3. So we'll do like 11 islands. And we'll do 11 swamps. And this is just a placeholder, so that we can see our mana base. And we're going to have 11, we'll do 12 plains to get to that 34. So now we've got 34. That's going to tell us how far along we are as we're assembling things. And then in terms of rocks, we are going to play like a selection of the best rocks printed. So Arcane Signet, I think, will go in there. Bonder's Ornament is a slam dunk. Decanter of Endless Water could be really good if we're drawing a lot of cards. Honored Heirloom and Lantern of Revealing. These are all great. But we're going to go deeper. These are all actually going to be snowlands too, because I think we are going to play Arkham's Astrolabe. It's not a card I usually like to play. Usually there's other things I want to be doing with my with my slots in my deck. And 1 mana, draw 1 to fix your mana isn't exactly what I'm looking for, but I think in this deck, the cheap cantrip paired with the mana fixing may be useful. I think we are going to play a Cranial Plating in this deck, because this is going to be a great finisher. We're going to play our Ornithopter of Paradise. We're going to want creatures that are both mana producing creatures, but also can be equipped with a Cranial Plating, I think. So I think that's a really good one. We could play something like Gilded Pinions to grant things flying. We are going to play the classics Ichor Wellspring and Mycosynth Wellspring. These ones both here have an ETB and an LTB, which is going to pair really nicely with the Sludge Strider. So basically, the thought is here we're going to have some powerful draw spells like Costly Plunder and Deadly Dispute, which are going to help make that work. Reckoner's Bargain also goes into that area there. So we're going to put these under draw. Organize them as such. These are also sacrifices. So we're going to make a new one here. Yeah, sacrifice. And we're also going to do, for Reckoner's Bargain, we're going to do life gain. Those of you who don't know, I do actually really like to multiple stack my card tags so that I can really see what the spread of effects is. Because sometimes when you pull a card out, that card is doing double duty, and it's important to know where it comes from. Chris Lively saying Marauding Blight Priest for doubling up on the damage from our commander. Yeah, I like the idea of that, because we are going to want to be able to... let's see, that's going to make everybody lose 1. Yeah, I quite like that, actually. Yeah, so let's add that into the mix. Because we will want a way to close the game. We're also going to do Epicure of Blood, which shockingly does not have flying. I really wish this card had flying. It would be so much better. It's basically Marauding Blight Priest, but it's 5 mana 4/4. So that's also good. These are going to help amplify our drain, and that's going to be really key. So those two are good. The Ornithopter is going to go into ramp. Cranial Plating is just going to be a finisher. Okay, let's look at the other things we've got. We may play a few counter spells just to toss in there. Chrome Courier is going to be amazing in this deck. It's already a great flicker target. This is basically Seagate Oracle, except it's a 1/3 instead a 1/1 instead of a 1/3. It has flying, and if it's an artifact that you put in the hand, you gain 3 life. So this card is really good. We're definitely going to play this. This is going to go under draw, as well as being a creature. And it's also going to be life gain. And that's key. So we got that. I think we are definitely going to play Cabal Paladin. This one here, whenever you cast a historic spell, which I think that will actually work for what we want to do. Where did it go? Did I just lose it? Cabal Paladin. So artifacts, legendaries, sagas, all historic. So that's going to be a good one. This one's going to help blast everybody away. This is going to be mainly like a burn spell kind of a thing. With priority, we'll probably ping people a couple of times. Nimble Right Schematic is going to be good. Hey, Jin, Shooting Star, welcome. Glad to have you in the stream today. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, so I think that Prize Statue is also going to be very good, along with Nimble Right Schematic. Jin says, just finished my budget cEDH stream. Oh, fantastic. I didn't know you made cEDH content. That's really great. Well, regardless, I'm glad that you made it today. Okay, I was kind of thinking that the border posts would be cool in this deck too. That basically the idea being that if we cut lands for border posts, then later on, instead of drawing lands, we draw border posts, and then the border posts are more triggers. So I think this is a good one. Kind of like the idea of playing those. Commander Sphere is great, sacks itself. Golem Foundry is going to be very powerful in this deck. For those of you who don't know, Golem Foundry, every time you cast an artifact spell, you put a counter on it, and then if you remove 3 charge counters, you can make a 3/3 Golem token. So this thing is going to go absolutely apeshit in this deck, and it's going to be really fun to see. Jin Shooting Star says, way too much content for English speakers. Absolutely. It's pretty flooded. I would say there's a lot of saturation in the market. That's one of the reasons why I started making content, really, is because cPDH, there's such a huge opportunity to make, great quality content about this amazing format. But any other format, and it's a pretty tough sell, I think. So Core Skyfisher is going to be great. It's going to allow us to reuse our ETBs for Sludge Strider. So Glint Hawk and Core Skyfisher function similarly in that they're going to return an artifact, and then we're going to get to replay it again to get more triggers and more of that stuff. So that's good. Relic of Progenitus is definitely going to go in. We could do Alchemist Vial. Alchemist Vial is really nice if we want to protect the initiative or the Monarch or something. Ashnods with some artifact creatures for the explosive turns and Mirror Retriever stuff. I think if we do... Ashnod's Loop is not really a favorite of mine. It takes a lot of things to get it going. But let's see what we can do. We're going to do Starnheim Courser, which is a great card. This one's going to reduce the cost of our artifact spells. So do that. This is also a creature. And then we're going to do Ethereum Sculptor. And these cards are going to help us go off really hard. With the value. So we're going to do Felwar Stone, move that in. I like the idea of Gilded Pinions because it's giving us 2 triggers and then later on giving something Evasion. Evasion is very good in the format right now. Mind Stone is a slam dunk. Prophetic Prism is pretty appealing to me because we are a 3-color deck. Spare Supplies would be good too. We're going to draw multiple times. Thought Vessel because we're going to have lots of cards. Magnifying Glass makes artifact tokens, which draw us cards, which give us ETB and LTBs. So let's try that one as well. Network Terminal is going to be a slam dunk. Whisper Silk Cloak could be good, but we're going to leave that for now. Sky Swimmer Koi is something I'm very excited about. Sky Swimmer Koi is a 4-mana 3/3. Hasn't really seen any play so far. I think there are some decks maybe playing it, but this card is amazing. You're going to loot every single time that an ETB of an artifact happens, and it's flying as well. So we are going to play this card, move that to the main board. Let's see. So we got those 2, and then where did that other one go? Yeah, Sky Swimmer Koi is a slam dunk. These ones here. We're going to have a million different categories here. We've got a lot of flyers. I really like that. This is a good sign for the deck because flying is just very strong right now. Trinket Mage, definitely going in. Jonathan said Ashnod's combo could be considered. Yep, we could do Ashnod's. We could also do... we could potentially do some Banishing Knack type stuff. Are there enough cost reducers? So artifact cost reduce less. We do get all of them. That's the nice thing. The Breaking Bob says, I think all good treasure generating cards are super good in this deck. Each treasure can be sacrificed and pays for its own LTB. Absolutely. Yeah, and then Knack Arco Dramatic Reversal. So Knack, or we could actually do Knack or Helix. Both of those cards are really good. One of the reasons I really like Knack and Helix in this deck is that they're actually just good removal spells, as well as a value spell, as well as a combo card. So I think that I am interested in playing Dramatic Reversal combo in this deck, but I don't know about anything else. We are going to play Stoic Rebuttal. That's just going to be a universal counterspell. I really like Gearseeker Serpent. 6 toughness means it doesn't die to, any bolt effects, and it doesn't die to some of the black removal, like Defile might not get it, although Defile can get it if you've got enough swamps. Grasp of Darkness doesn't kill this. Obnixilus's Cruelty doesn't kill this. Scred would have to be a lot. Yeah, Jonathan says, do I hear Ryan considering combo? Absolutely. Yeah, and part of that is just because so much of this deck is going to be drawing us cards that I think that I'm bullish on that. So, okay. Foundry Inspector is in. We actually get all the cost reducers, which is really hype. Starnheim Courser usually doesn't come into the mix because usually these artifact decks are Izzet, but this one being Esper means we get all 3 of them, which is great. Gonna get this. We're gonna get Trinket Mage. Trinket Mage is also going to be a tutor. So we are going to want Everflowing Chalice, which is also a combo card. Everflowing Chalice is just like a really, really amazing card in this deck. Everflowing Chalice is going to be like tapping for like 10 in some cases, I think. This is going to go under counter spells. We're not going to play a lot of counter spells. We're only going to play the counter spells that that are counter anything for like very cheap. So like, or for like 2. So basically we want like complete flexibility, and we want it to be 2 mana. Stoic Rebuttal, we're always going to have Metalcraft. That's not a problem. We're going to play Disruption Protocol. Disruption Protocol is great. We can tap an artifact instead of paying 1 for a 2 mana counterspell. We're going to play Counterspell. I think it is important though that we don't like overload too heavily on our counterspells here, because it's really not like what the deck is doing. Okay, so we got that one. We've got we could play Metallic Rebuke. Metallic Rebuke having Improvise could be good. We'll have to come back to that and see. Okay, other stuff we have here. Welding Jar to regenerate target artifact is potentially interesting. We could play some of the artifacts that that search for lands. This one only puts them into your hand though, which is pretty not good. Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. That's kind of interesting. We might play the Signets. We are going to play Cruel Witness as well. This card is has the Darcy text on it, so it surveils. I think the text has been changed now. Yeah, it's whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. And it's also a 3/3, so this is great. Like that one a lot. We're going to play Disciple of the Vault. Whenever an artifact goes into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may have an opponent lose 1. This is going to be really good alongside the other drain effects. We could potentially play like Mold Folk would be interesting. And Breaking Bob says, will the final deck list be published / posted to Discord? Absolutely. It'll be, the deck list is already, I believe. Let me make sure it is. Let's see if it was posted in here. Yeah, so if you go into the description, the list is already posted there, but I've also linked it in chat. So if you want to follow along and essentially refresh your Moxfield, that's one way you can do it. But yeah, that is the link right there. Okay, some other cards that I really like here are Sojourner's Companion and Mirror Enforcer. Steelfin Whale can be a combo card with Dramatic Reversal. I really like that as well. They're also just like extraordinarily cheap threats that we can deploy. I don't think life gain is going to be super important, so I don't know that this Mold Folk is really all that helpful. I like the idea of being able to convert our resources later on to like a big threat, but I just don't think this is really what we want to be doing here. Ghostly Flicker hitting artifacts, creatures, lands. So this is like essentially a protection spell. Also going to give us some flickers. It may or may not be good. Arcane Denial is definitely going in. I really like that card. Drop that there. Yep, we are going to be playing Darksteel Citadel, of course. And we're going to be playing all the artifact lands, the lands. So Bridge. So we're going to be playing Goldmire, Mistvault, and Razor Tide. And then we could also... I don't know that this is super useful. Sky Tower Bridge to draw cards. That's not an artifact, so we don't care. And then we'll do Seat of the Synod, and we'll do Vault of Whispers, and then we'll do the Den, Ancient Den. Bob says, Moldfolk was really doing well in my early builds because it has the lifelink and as a sack outlet. Yeah. Yeah, I think Moldfolk is definitely one to keep in mind. I think the lifelink may not be super relevant because we're just going to be gaining so much life as it is, but we can try that out. And part of the thing too is like, yeah, like people can kill the Sludge Strider, but I'm not confident that the Sludge Strider is like actually a threat to people. Like it's hitting one player, it's gaining me life. So I don't really expect the Sludge Strider to die that much, in particular, because if the Sludge Strider dies and I've just been making all these mana rocks, then I just recast him and it's kind of like, whatever, you know. Noyark, welcome. Glad to have you here. With an artifact set just around the corner, do you think that this deck might be better viewed after we have fuller information of Brothers War? Yeah, that's a very good point. In fact, like I've already got, I think in my primer I have it here. No, I don't. We have a lot. Brothers War is already turning out to be really powerful. This set is definitely got a lot. And so this deck will change with Brothers War. We already have a number of unearthed creatures that are in these colors that are going to be powerful for this deck, and we're going to want them. And we won't even be able to add them to the list right away. So maybe, you know, maybe there was some wisdom in waiting till Brothers War was done, but this is one that I've had on my mind for a long time. So just know that like this deck will change, as all the decks that we do in the live streams do, over time. Like these are always just first stabs, if we want to put it that way. It's kind of like a first attempt at a thing. And some of you may have already built these things before and have a sense of where they are. But part of this is like the interaction between you and I. It's also about the interaction of you guys getting to see how I go about building my decks, how I'm tagging them, the kind of thought process that I've got there. So Noeric said, also you saw how powerful the reaction to Righteous Aura earlier today. Same goes for Protective Sphere. Are you in mid-range? You should definitely play him. Absolutely, yeah. So Noyark is a big advocate for Protective Sphere, and I also really like this card. This is a version of Righteous Aura that says pay 1 colorless and 1 life. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn by a source of your choice that shares a color with the mana you spent to activate this cost. The genius of this is that when you're playing a ton of mana rocks, these mana rocks are not limited to producing colors outside of our commander's color. So what that means is that with Lantern of Revealing and with Honored Heirloom and Decanter of Endless Water and some of these other ones, Ornithopter of Paradise, we can pay a mana of any color into Righteous Aura, pay 1 life, and prevent a source of damage for that turn. That is really strong. This is a permanent that can like really end the game for a certain player. Its improved version is Righteous Aura. And I say improved because it only takes white mana, and then it prevents damage from any source, but it does cost another life. So that is worth mentioning. So with all the life that we're going to be gaining from Sludge Strider, my feeling is that these are going to be very, very easy to maintain in terms of, you know, the life total that we have and as a resource. So there's that. Frogmite is pretty low impact, but Frogmite does work with as a combo piece. So if we had Frogmite in there, so basically if we had all the affinity creatures. No, I don't know that we. Well, wait. Affinity. So O, affinity, O, artifacts. Yeah, we'll want Thoughtcast, of course. We could play Somber Hover Guard, but it's not an artifact, which has always been one of its downfalls. It is a 3/2 flyer, which is good. Affinity for artifacts on Lens Flare. That's kind of interesting. Just attacking and blocking, though. I just don't think we're going to be a huge target for that kind of stuff. We could play Tooth and Scale. These ones are going to come out for free like that, super quick. They don't have a lot of usefulness, but they are flash. So Noyark says it is notable that Righteous Aura prevents the next source of your choice. Sphere protects all damage from a source for a turn, meaning it can turn off Impact Tremor style cards. Yeah, that's actually really, interesting. Protects all damage from a source. Yeah, let's go back and look at the language on that. That is specific and important. So Protective Sphere, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. So just dealt to you this turn by a source of your choice that shares a color with the mana spent to activate, whereas this says prevent all damage from any one source. Next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. Yeah, these are subtly different, but they're going to accomplish a similar thing. That's good. Look at this, we're already at 97 cards. We got to take some lands out, actually, so there. And once again, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for joining the stream today. The 7 of you who are here, glad to have you. Grateful for your attention and your time today and for participating in this content. If you are enjoying it, feel free to like if you're liking what you see here, and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Okay. We have Mind Stone is going to go into ramp. Felwar Stone into ramp. Thought Vessel into ramp. Commander Sphere into ramp. Network Terminal into ramp. We could even play stuff like Sisay's Ring. Sisay's Ring and Urgolem's Eye. These ones are gonna just ramp us like crazy. This deck is actually in many ways quite similar to, it's gonna be very familiar to you, Noyark, because it's gonna play so many mana rocks, right? We're gonna have crazy number of mana sources here. Let's just say, we're gonna say like win conditions as a category here, which we have a few. So it's going to be Cabal Paladin goes into win conditions, Marauding Blight Priest, Epicure of Blood, Disciple of the Vault. Those are all good ones. Noyark says crazy mana wants crazy card draw. Get them Rush of Knowledge style cards in there. Yeah, so we're actually going to have a few of those. So I think Deep Analysis is actually going to be great in this deck because we're gonna be gaining life, and so the life loss doesn't really matter. We could do Rush of Knowledge as an option. I don't know what Rush of Knowledge is. So Rush of Knowledge is going to draw 3. So 5 mana, draw 3, and then in some cases it'll be like draw 4 with the commander. I think Rush of Knowledge is good. Yeah, 5 mana, draw 4 is definitely where we want to be, because we're going to have so much mana. Rush of Knowledge, Thoughtcast, Deep Analysis. Jonathan says, thinking about combo, Dramatic Reversal and Ashnod's Altar both give infinite mana, but Ashnod's Loop allows your commander to be a finisher, while you need a different outlet for Dramatic Reversal. John responds with, you have a lot of affinity cards, could be a lot bigger. Breaking Bob says, do you think the Clue Stones are good enough for this deck to give them a home? Yeah, so 3 different comments there. Jonathan talking about Dramatic Reversal and Ashnod's. I admit, after streaming today, during my first stream, I kind of melted my brain just managing all the different things to get that going. So, Jonathan, if you could explain the combo that you have in mind in order, that would be super helpful for me. Like I told you guys, you're going to have to... I hope you don't skip left leg day, because we got. I'm going to need y'all to backpack me on any sort of combo related stuff. Noyark says you have a lot of affinity cards, could be a lot bigger. You're saying more, like more affinity cards? We have most of the ones that I'm familiar with, or the ones that are like really good. And then Breaking Bob says, do you think the Clue Stones? I think the Clue Stones are really good in this one too. I think I like the Locket. The Locket's a little bit better. Because the Lockets draw more cards and we have lots of mana. Yeah, Noyark saying Rush of Knowledge would be bigger than 3 to 4. Well, yeah, so Rush of Knowledge might be draw 7 in some cases. You know, with Mirror Enforcer, Steelfin Whale, you know. So actually, I think you're right. This is going to be like a massive draw spell. I'm really glad that we have Decanter and Thought Vessel in here, because, yeah, that's going to be really good. Maybe Ornithopter of Paradise won't make it in. I think we do want 2 mana rocks, though, so that we can, like, come out the gate super hot. I think that that's going to be really good. So Cranial Plating is going to be disgusting in this deck. Like, super, super, super gross. Da, 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 da. And then we can cut some lands here again. Yep. I think we're actually going to go down to that. Noyark says, also in terms of the combo, this is going to be a better dramatic combo deck than Ashnod's. The pieces for dramatic on their own are going to generate more diverse value than the Ashnod's pieces. I think that that's correct. I think that, like, the amount of mana we can produce off of, like, a fairly cast dramatic reversal could be, like, kind of insane. So the lockets are definitely better. Yeah, I think so. The lockets have always appealed to me more because, like, drawing 2 stapled onto the card is a lot more valuable when we tend to crack those cards. Late game, we'd rather draw 2 at the sacrifice of our rock than we would draw 3 or 1, especially when we've got lots of mana. So Noyark says even better if it does seem to synergize with the commander. Yep, absolutely. Okay, we gotta change some of these printings here. I prefer that they look a little bit more uniform. Okay, Frogmite. It's like a combo card, but, like, it's not a card that I'm, like, excited to put in the deck because it's just a 2/2. It's just a 2/2. Doesn't fly or anything. It just doesn't like do very much. We're at 95 cards, and you'll notice I've got 32 lands right now, but that's because I'm actually, like, counting the border posts in here. Yeah, we just get 2 of them. But even Cluestone, with the ability to sack them for extra draw in the late game, maybe that they are even better than any color rocks without the sack ability. Yeah, that's possible. So maybe we say, like, skip on Urgolem's Eye and Sisay's Ring, and then we just play more of the ones that sacrifice. I could see that. Let's do that. So we'll do Locket. The other clue stone that people don't always think of is called Letter of Acceptance, which is basically that, but it doesn't have any complex mana requirements. It's the same thing. So now we'll do clue stone. Let's see. Yep. Okay, clue stone, clue stone, clue stone, border post, border post. And in terms of finding cranial plating, there is a part of me that wants to, like, actually be able to tutor for that. We don't need to add another one. We just need to do something here. Noyark says, I don't like Frogmite. Letter of Acceptance is best with Protective Sphere. This is also might be a Prismatic Lens deck. Yeah, Prismatic Lens could be really good. Yeah, I think Frogmite is ultimately, like, too... it's just not very good. We're going to want Battered Golem in here. I don't know that we're going to go any deeper than Battered Golem and Steelfin Whale. Because, like... Ironically, Steelfin Whale is not an artifact, but Steelfin Whale is also a 3/4 that we're gonna cast for 1. So I think that's good. And then Battered Golem is also gonna be an artifact, but it's also gonna be a combo card. So let's get the Retraction Helix in here. Yeah, Somber Hoverguard is kind of like Bone Picker. Huh. Yeah, flyers are good. I don't know about that one. That's one that I've played with in 60 card quite a bit, but and we don't even have any removal in here yet either, so okay. So we got removal there. We got these draw spells. We've got all these rocks that draw. Magnifying Glass, probably good. It's so expensive. It's basically like 5 mana make a clue token. I don't know if this is going to make it. I think I'm just going to cut it preemptively because I don't think it's good. Oh, dramatic reversal. Now, what are we doing with like dramatic reversal? What's the like? We're just like making like a fuckzillion mana. Is that the idea here? And then, and like what's our win condition? I guess a deck like this can definitely support capsize, big mana removal, repeatable. This is also a win condition. Okay, and then we're going to want Mycosynth Wellspring is not really... These don't really have another like purpose to them that I can name. Prophetic Prism. Noark says, when you want to cut the 4 mana Soul Rings, I went down on Magnifying Glass. Are you going to do Retraction combo? I think if you're going to do a combo, you want one here. And I see more synergy with Dramatic than Helix. It's interesting because like it seems to me that both Dramatic Reversal and Helix work well in the deck, right? We have enough creatures where we're going to have something in play to be able to like bounce something. They both function on their own as just like good cards. One of them is like a massive ritual, basically. And then Dramatic Reversal is just removal. So yeah, we're already at 100 cards, so something will have to go. The Breaking Bob said we want the Improvise Hexproof guy. Oh yeah, yeah. Bastion Inventor. Good call. Improvise is going to give us Bastion Inventor, which is great. This is going to be super, super cool. And the funny thing about Improvise is like a lot of our rocks are going to be mana rocks. And so I guess are we going to be like tapping a lot of mana rocks to make this happen? I personally like that the Dramatic combo Archaeomancer can pick up removal. But if you're Helix at the table consistently, that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess like if you have Dramatic Reversal and Archaeomancer, you only need to have, let's see, what would it be? So you need 6 mana to do that loop. So you need 7 mana rocks, making 1 mana each to go mana positive on that loop. And if you do, you go infinite. That's really disgusting. If you have 8, then you could do Mnemonic Wall. Oh, but you need a way to flicker it, right? You need a way to bounce your Archaeomancer. So how many do you need then? So if you're doing... So you go Dramatic Reversal, floating all the mana, play Archaeomancer, get back Dramatic Reversal. Do you need Ghostly Flicker then? And Dramatic just functions like a Peregrine Drake, so you need a concentration of Archaeomancers. Okay, Ghostly Flicker and Displace, got it. Well, I'm a huge fan of Mnemonic Wall. I like this card in a lot of blue decks just because it's a good blocker that gives us some value right away. Archaeomancer. And then Ghostly Flicker. And Displace. Yeah, now we're in a couple of different combos here, aren't we? And we're over 100 cards pretty easily. And then the win condition's pretty easy because it's attached to the commander. So if I've got enough mana rocks, which I presume that we will, then yeah. Okay. So Noark says this is based off the E-Sphinx nonsense. So Aethersworn Sphinx. You basically run all the Archaeomancers because picking up your draw spells and removal is bigger value than the Helix stuff. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, the Aethersworn Sphinx deck kind of early on didn't really work out so well as a Banishing Knack or a Knack Helix deck. It really was, it just didn't perform. And I don't recall seeing it win via combo. However, Noyark improved on that build dramatically with dramatic reversal, but also with a lot of other deck building techniques that are really interesting. And Aethersworn Sphinx is Cascade and Affinity, so it becomes 1 mana. So, yeah. Trevor Gingrich, so glad I could finally catch one of these. This commander looks crazy. Well, first of all, Trevor, thank you to the stream. Glad to have you here. Welcome. And yeah, glad you could make it today. Yeah, this commander is crazy. Like, Sludge Strider is really cool. I'm very excited. Jonathan says you don't need Ghostly and Displace if you use Knack or Helix. So I guess that would be in the case where we go Steel Fin Whale. No, I think we do. Because you need, so if you had Steel Fin Whale, and you go Archaeomancer, get, or you go Dramatic Reversal, float a bunch of mana, Archaeomancer, and then get back Dramatic. So use Helix to flicker Archaeo, pick up Dramatic Reversal, untap everything, and repeat. Oh, because the Dramatic Reversal will untap the Steel Fin Whale and or the Battered Golem. Huh. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. So then Jonathan says needs another creature without summoning sickness down. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I knew this was going to be a painful deck build. Here we go. So maybe we want more Archaeomancer effects like Salvager of Secrets. Yeah, Andre saying wait, Helix might be a consider for E-Sphinx now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely really that's quite interesting to think about that. Creatures. Then Salvager of Secret under creatures. And Salvager of Secret also is a win condition. These also often represent a draw. I don't know that Bastion Inventor is going to make it here. We have Fabricio Panhan. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Hi, Papa. Greetings from Brazil. Oh, buenos. Glad to have you here today. And stoked that you made the stream. Thanks for joining us. Oh gosh, I've forgotten my Brazilian greetings. I used to know this one, so we'll find one here. Yeah. Noyark says I would cut a counterspell for that beefy Bastion Inventor, but that's fine for me. Okay. So I would cut Counterspell before that beefy Bastion Inventor. The thing about Bastion Inventor is that, like, it's not Affinity, right? So what are the artifacts that we're tapping? Because the artifacts that we're tapping make mana. So it's kind of like redundant to be tapping our artifacts to make mana for this thing. It's not really getting cheaper. So I'm not hugely stoked on it. Yeah, Fabricio says, awesome. We have a great Pauper community here. Yeah, that is really, I have to say, Fabricio, that my origins in Pauper with 60 card were, and a lot of my efforts in my local community were inspired by the massive events that are happening in Brazil and in and Argentina. and all over Latin America, where lots and lots of people play Pauper. It's really like kind of the home for it. The other one is in Italy, and in Spain and Portugal. There's lots of people playing Pauper there as well, because it's just an amazing format. Like Paupergeddon in Italy gets like sold out like very soon after it's available every time it goes. So yeah, Jin Shooting Star says, we are the home of Pauper. Well, Jin, where are you from? Bob says, do we want to run Evan Carr's Justice? I think we will want to run some sweepers. I don't know if it'll be Justice. Jonathan says, if you have both Knack and Helix in hand, you can flicker them both. You can flicker both your Archaeomancer and a Rock to kill the table with your commander. If you have Knack and Helix in hand, you can flicker both your Archaeo and Rock. Oh my god. I feel like Jonathan's brain is so big right now, and my brain is so smooth that I may need some help on that axis there. Jin Shooting Star says, we are the home of Pauper. That is damn right. He's from Brazil. Brazil is representing. That is awesome. Capsize is probably your other combo out. Yep, that or Deep Analysis. One of the two. Deep Analysis can also be used to mill the table. Noyark says, you have spare supplies and some other untagged stuff there. IDK if those are worth running. If you want to cut them in favor of more powerful, less synergistic effect, you could probably cut Bastion. Yeah, Fabricio with the dab. All right. So spare supplies we can let go. I think Icar Wellspring and Mycosynth are pretty, I guess. Yeah, so the infinite combo here is involving involving bouncing things to our hands or flickering them, one of the two. And I think that it's going to involve... Yeah, okay. Hey, Noyark is saying, throw me in chat, voice chat. I'm on Jonathan's wavelength, so I'm seeing a combo line. And in fact, we are going to do that. We're gonna phone a friend here and and get some support. Noyark, would you please jump into lounge, and then I'll drag you over into the recording booth. Jonathan says, I'm watching stream muted. Sorry, about to get on a train. No worries at all. That is totally fine. I think that we can make this happen here. Noyark, my dude, how you doing?
Testing.
All right, chat. Ooh. Can you all confirm that you're hearing this? Give me a thumbs up in chat if you can hear Noyark's voice.
Let me do another sound check here.
Yep. There it is. Ready. Yeah, I'm sure you're hearing both my voice here and then also in chat, so that's probably tough for you. Yeah, oh, we're getting all thumbs up, green light, baby. Let's go. Okay. Noyark in chat on stream for the first time. This is fabulous. This is great. I'm glad that you were down for this. This is fabulous. This is great. I'm glad that you were down for this.
All right, I think I can hear things now. I'm happy to
take a peek at this stuff.
I think I can hear. So, okay.
And are you hearing me come through live now?
I am. Okay. I had to realize that I needed to pause the live stream, but
yes,
it's really good to see all of these people in chat from all over the world, I guess.
All over the world.
Supporting this great format.
Yeah, we've got people from all over the states here. We've got, in fact, check in with chat here. Let us know where you're from. I know Fabricio and Jin Shooting Star, both from Brazil. We have Jonathan, who's from Australia. Myself from Washington. Breaking Bob is from Germany. Dude, we have got, like, Pennsylvania. So we've got both sides of the U.S. Noyark's in Colorado. Yeah, so we got, and Kentucky. Dude, so, okay, like, this is crazy. We have West Coast, Central, East Coast of U.S. We have Germany for Europe. And then we've got Australia. We've got almost every time zone covered. This is crazy. We've got Kentucky, Trevor. Dude, this is dope. Okay, well, very hype. Glad to have you all. Thank you for showing up today. Folks like you showing up for these streams are what make it possible for me to do 2 in one day in this case, which don't expect that in the future. This is a bit of a... I hopped into a game earlier, and I was like, I'm just going to stream this. And then got to working on some other stuff, and then we had... Who was it? We had somebody in cPDH General here. Yep, it was Croxagore. Which, by the way, great name. Croxagore, for those of you that don't know, is from the Warhammer Fantasy. It's a lizard men, like bruiser kind of a thing. Anyways, he goes in chat and he says, did something change with the schedule on Esper Strider brew stream? And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's breaking Bob. Yeah, I had totally forgotten it because I had streamed earlier today. So anyways, thank you for the reminder on that. So back to the content though, back to what we're working on here. Noyark,
So
what was your thinking here?
So this combo is there's some very simple parts to this combo that you can either do if we go Retraction Helix and Dramatic Reversal, where you get the, if you have 2 Archaeomancers in play and you're flickering them both, one picks up the Ghostly Flicker or Displace, the other picks up the Dramatic Reversal. So, I mean, that's the main combo line that I'm used to when I play my Azorius Artifact deck, the E-Sphinx. However, Jonathan is absolutely correct. There is something going on here with Retraction Helix, and the fact that Retraction Helix and the other one, I never remember what it's called.
Banishing Knack.
Banishing Knack and Helix, they, alongside this combo, and you just having creatures in your deck are going to allow you to do so many more diverse things.
Yeah.
So the Knack and the Helix, you can pick them up with the Archaeomancers. So if your first Dramatic might look... Basically, you've just got like very convoluted combo lines that'll get you to similar endgames, but your ability to see those lines and play the combos, especially after casting a Rush of Knowledge, are going to be like, you'll just have more options on what you want to do with your turn. I'm seeing that there could be something where you put your Retraction Helix on something that isn't your Archaeomancer and you cast the Dramatic Reversal, right?
Yep.
So you untap a bunch of artifacts, and then say it's specifically Archaeomancer, so it's 4 mana.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying you would probably need 7 mana for this. You cast the Archaeomancer, you cast the Dramatic Reversal, or pick up the Dramatic Reversal and cast it.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna untap everything, including what has the Retraction Helix on it. And then you can keep doing that over and over again for infinite mana as well.
That and the layering of that combo is really interesting because I think, as I'd mentioned before, these are already spells that we were like pretty excited to have in the deck.
And so then say you have another Helix effect, or you have another Archaeomancer that you can put into play to pick up the Helix again. You can then start bouncing 2 things, which means you could bounce your opponent's permanents while you're going through this combo, or you could be picking up an additional Archaeomancer at this point and be picking up draw spells to go infinite that way.
Wow.
To like start drawing through your library. You would be so you've got that, basically your ETB effects at that point, whatever they are, can be part of your combo. You could go find if you picked up Trinket Mage and you didn't have your 0 mana artifact, you went and got a land, you could play Trinket Mage at that point and start doing the Retraction combo that doesn't require you to have infinite mana if you were only able to generate a lot of mana.
Yep. And that actually works nicely with because we've got multiple targets for Trinket Mage. We have Tormod's Crypt and Everflowing Chalice as both things that we can flicker. We could also flicker. We can also find Arkham's Astrolabe with Trinket. And I think a lot of these rocks become infinite if we have enough stuff going on, right? Like it almost becomes it becomes
Do we
kind
have
of
mana rocks that infinitely produce snow mana? I don't think we can, Astrolabe. You might be able to Astrolabe with the mana from Astrolabe. Like, you would have to filter something through Astrolabe, pick up Astrolabe, cast mana with that, and keep going. You could theoretically draw if you had infinite mana.
Maybe this is
yeah.
Maybe, I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, I've always joked that Arkham's Astrolabe just, like, doesn't go in any of my decks ever. And this is probably another example of that, now that I'm thinking about it. It's a very cheap draw. And it does fix our mana, but, like, so does the rest of our deck. And
I would say that, yeah, essentially, since you're big enough on the mana, you can afford to, if you really want this combo to feel potent, you probably run Mnemonic Wall, Archaeomancer,
Salvager.
all of these pieces, the Salvager, and all of these pieces just happen to be instants. The only things that you wouldn't be able to pick up would be like Rush of Knowledge at that point.
Well, that's fine. Salvager of Secrets still gets sorceries.
Right. I'm saying also Scrivener.
Okay, Scrivener, yeah. Although
just for a concentration of those effects, because those cards, even when you're not comboing, are going to pick up Go for the Throat, Counterspell, whatever. They're going to sit there and ask people to kill them, which, like, fine, you're still a Sludge Strider deck. Your combo is not just the end of the game. You have, based on your colors, a way to end the game. But if you do that, the Courier, the Advanced Thopter, that draws a card there, I've done some playtesting with that card, and though it does replace itself, I think that it's a fairly weak body for what you're paying.
It is, but I do want to mention that we have cranial plating, and so what I'm excited about with this deck is to have multiple overlapping synergistic win conditions. The draining on the Sludge Strider becomes relevant if you ever equip a cranial plating to something as tiny as a Courier, because then the Courier is just like a lethal threat in the air. And then somebody kills it, and you're like, all right, you're gonna just switch it over to something else, a Glint Hawk, right? Or a Core Skyfisher. And we're gonna have so much mana that being able to swap it between is gonna be really powerful. So I'm bullish on like these multiple overlapping combos. Like just having a combo in the deck, but being able to do this other stuff too is good.
Can I posit
Core
Skyfisher picking up Prophetic Prism or any of your other artifacts that draw cards instead of the Courier, because it would also pick up Trinket Mage or any of the Archaeomancers if you go for that combo.
Are you suggesting Core Skyfisher?
Yeah, in place of that one. It's a cheaper version of that card with a bigger body, but it still flies, it still carries that cranial plating win condition.
We actually don't have a lot of these rocks that draw cards. That's another thing to keep in mind. Like they draw cards when we sacrifice them, but not when they ETB. So Core Skyfisher and Glint Hawk are more like value cards.
That's fair.
They can also we can also use them to like pick up our Salvager of Secrets, our Pneumatic Wall, Core Skyfisher at least. Trinket Mage, yeah. You have multiple uses.
Could even like, I love picking up the Everflowing Chalice and casting it for more.
Yep, that's great. Cast it early, pick it up later on. Cast it for like a lot. Like Everflowing Chalice alone could be enough to like combo off in a lot of cases, right? If you start, Everflowing Chalice is busto in this deck for sure. I think Marauding Blight Priest can go, and I think that Epicure of Blood can go as well. Those ones I was more excited about in like a mid-range deck, control deck, where you're like killing people with triggers eventually. But I think that we can actually just instead like have a combo in the deck and just ignore those incremental type cards because we already have that in the command zone.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate cut because I really like those cards, but that might just not be where the deck is at. I think Jonathan here is asking, I can't see the stream anymore because if I have it going, I guess I could mute it.
Yeah, you can mute it. That's one way to do it, to keep in chat.
Because I was not being able to see what's going on, but
Use,
I guess they want to see what the current deck list is looking like.
Yeah. One thing that it's the issue with the overlapping tags. He doesn't like the overlapping tags, which I understand. Some people are that way. This one's going to be complicated because there are a lot of different elements here. But that's just gonna be how it is. I think that the Scrivener is gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
Just like load up on these pretty hard.
I guess the Sludge Strider is whenever you sacrifice an artifact, or when it comes into play. So
or leaves play.
Or leaves. Okay, that's more important because I was looking at Reckoner's Bargain and some of these like sack a thing, draw some cards effects.
Yep.
I can't tell from the stream. Are you running any of the ones that only sacrifice creatures?
No, these all sacrifice artifacts or creatures.
So there is also.
There's a couple more that we can play.
If we want more of those, but there's a blue one.
Yep. It's Perilous Research.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of have my reservations considering that there also is the cranial plating there. Like, how many artifacts do we want to sacrifice to draw cards compared to just letting them sit there?
We have 45 artifacts. If we sacrifice one of them and we draw cards, I think we're actually just going to hit another artifact.
Yeah, you said 45 artifacts?
Yeah.
That's a lot of artifacts.
It's a lot of artifacts. Yeah. It's a ton. Yeah, we're gonna draw like boatloads of cards for sure.
Ooh. Jin Shooting Star said Witching Well is also an infinite mana or blink outlet.
Is it really?
I don't know.
So you bounce it if you have
I guess we can scry a lot until you find the card that you want to draw with it, which is good. I do, with the inclusion of the Archaeomancers, really like, I assume it's in here, the Blood Fountain.
Yeah, Blood Fountain would be good. Yeah.
That's huge.
Being able to get back our combo cards, and we also can tutor it with Trinket Mage.
Yeah, and like the other thing is, if you're playing such a huge mana deck, it doesn't really matter what kind of investment you're putting into cards as long as they draw more.
Yep.
So picking up Archaeomancer to pick up Thoughtcast or Rush of Knowledge or Reckoner's Bargain, and just sit there, throw it under the bus to block and sack it again. Just never. It's card draw.
I was also realizing there's another combo line in which you have like a cost reducer or two, depending on what it is you want to do, what it is you want to flicker. But like these cost reducers pairing up with mana rocks, and then like Steelfin Whale or Battered Golem is also another way to make like infinite mana. It's just like another combo.
Just by the nature of the deck's existence, it's going to find a way to combo.
Yeah,
and it also has cranial plating.
It's because of the way it is.
Yeah, it's because it do because it is.
Yeah, it'd be that way because of the way it is. We have all these overlapping pieces. I hadn't even really considered that, but like if you have Ethereum Sculptor and Nihil Spellbomb and Steelfin Whale and Banishing Knack, you can get infinite ETBs. The better one though would be to have let's see, how would this work? If you had something like Arcane Signet, is there a way to make that infinite so that you would be able to pay for the Sludge Strider? You need to go 1 mana positive, right? So if you have a Sculptor and Foundry Inspector and a 2 mana rock, you cast the 2 mana rock for free, you tap it for mana, you cast okay, so no, here it is. Yeah, Ethereum Sculptor, Foundry Inspector, you play Arcane Signet for free, you tap it for mana, you cast Banishing Knack on your Battered Golem. It taps to bounce that thing back, You cast it for free. Yep, bounce, 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 make infinite. Yep. So if we have 2 cost reducers, Battered Golem or Steelfin Whale, we could also play Mirren Spy, but I don't want to go too deep into that because Mirren Spy is kind of a bad card, whereas Golem and Steelfin Whale have more usefulness. Yeah. Wow. A lot of different combos going on here. And maybe this is a deck where we're not actually playing like protection for our combos because we just have more of them in the deck. Is that the idea?
I mean, I don't know if that works as well here as it does in E-Sphinx, just because of how little I care about what's going on in the game when I'm playing that deck.
Yeah. You're kind of just...
however, I would say that generally, I think with a deck that's so focused on being its combo, like, well, it's not even focused, it just happens to have all of these elements.
Yeah.
That you don't need to protect it as much as you need to stop other combos. So it kind of comes down to if you evaluate your counter spells and your removal spells as both functioning in that same wheel space of stopping combos, then the counter spells do have the added benefit of also protecting your combo.
And we are playing some of the better... I
can't believe I'm saying it, but they might be better here.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of removal in here yet. Like, we have a ton of stuff. I guess, like, some of these other ones, like Nimble Right Schematic, Mycosynth Wellspring, Ichor Wellspring, Alchemist Vial, Prize Statue, Prophetic Prism, that stuff. So those things all do something on ETB, which is where Glint Hawk and Core Skyfisher come in. But if we don't have those in the deck, and most of the artifacts are actually like mana rocks that don't draw a card when they come into play, then Core Skyfisher and Glint Hawk get a little bit worse.
I mean, so a little bit, but they also... Glint Hawk doesn't do what I would say Core Skyfisher does here, where Glint Hawk can't pick up the Archaeomancers and stuff like that, but Core Skyfisher can pick up the Chrome Courier. It could pick up the Salamander, the Sojourner, and just cast it again for value with the Commander.
Or just cast, or it could start the combo. Because remember, Sojourner's Companion and Mirror Enforcer are combo cards. So if we have them in play because we wanted to play them out to like fight people and stuff, then we go Glint Hawk, bounce it back, start the combo, play the Companion, untap, and then it just goes, right? Because these are for free. These are always going to be 0 mana.
Like, I think even without those artifacts that draw cards, you have enough ETBs and things that you care about to pick up with Core Skyfisher.
Yeah.
I don't know if Glint Hawk makes it, but the also because we're at 105.
105 with no removal, and you know.
Yeah, some of those artifacts down there might not make the and also, so Sludge Strider, does it gain you life?
Yeah, it does. So there's a part of me that's really
you're hovering over where my thought process was going.
Yeah, I think Protective Sphere gets the cut. And it might even be Righteous Aura too. But I mean, I think it's definitely Protective Sphere. We could keep a single Righteous Aura.
Did you cut the Glint Hawk?
I have not cut Glint Hawk yet because I'm not sure yet that I want to lose. It just feels like Nimble Right Schematic, Prized Statue, Mycosynth, and Ichor Wellspring both work really nicely with the sacrifice cards. The Costly Plunder, Deadly Dispute, that kind of stuff. Oh,
that's fair. I was going to say they're probably not generating more value than Protective Sphere.
No, Protective Sphere is like helping keep us alive in a deck that already is going to buffer its life total a lot. My main worry is going to be like commander damage. So if we are going to play... We don't need Capsize, do we?
Witching Well and Blood Fountain?
I don't have Witching Well. I do have Blood Fountain. Witching Well is good.
I'd say, well, it's probably... I liked the point out that like you can do it forever. Once the most extensive version of the combo of Dramatics Reversal Plus is going on, like to scry through your deck. But at that point, I don't know if that card is really generating more value on its own than say Capsize would be.
Right.
Like, just
Capsize can
You've got
be
so much mana already. Why not just hard cast Capsize with its buyback every now and then?
Yeah, Capsize is actually a combo piece too. As silly as that is, this can be used to, if we have enough mana rocks, we can use this to bounce our stuff, like a really expensive Ghostly Flicker.
Yeah,
that is a thing we can do.
You're thinking like an E-Sphinx.
So then,
I have done that.
So then Cabal Paladin is also not needed here either, is it? Like this is because our win conditions in the command zone.
It is a 4/2.
It's a 4/2 that hits people for 2 every time you play an artifact, which I think is really good.
I think that like a consolidation of cards that are powerful whether or not you're comboing, because like your commander is also draining people. This card is draining people.
Yep, two to each player is a lot.
Maybe there's somewhere else to start shaving things before we look at that one, because I like that one.
Okay, so we've got, in under win conditions, we have all the basics. Cranial Plating, Knack Helix, Dramatic Reversal, Displace Ghostly Flicker. Golem Foundry is also going to be great here. Archaeomancer, Pneumatic Well, Salvager, Scrivener, Cabal Paladin. So those all feel pretty inviolate. Like we don't need to lose any more of those. I like Righteous Aura being able to turn off commander damage, because that's the main thing we're going to die to. Ornithopter has some ETB combo from Fabricio. Ornithopter also doesn't do anything though. Well, okay.
Unless you've got the plating.
If you've got plating, then it's really, really good. And it's tutorable with Trinket Mage.
But so is Starnheim Courser with the plating, and so is Glint Hawk or Core Skyfisher. Or
Cruel Witness or Sky Swimmer Koi. Or Starnheim Courser. A lot of these things just have flying.
I don't know. It's Ornithopter is usually something I would consider for a deck like this, but I think we're kind of at the point where it's not carrying its own weight compared to some of these other really powerful cards.
One way to look at it is that the other cards that are also Ornithopter are Tormod's Crypt, Everflowing Chalice, Mirror Enforcer, and Sojourner's Companion. These are all the same card, basically, when it comes to the combo, right? Right. We have a way to, they don't cost anything anymore, and we cast them until we win. We could also, another card that I was thinking about too is Ethereum Spinner, and I don't know what our mana cost looks like here, but we can go take a look. Most of it's at 3, so Ethereum Spinner is not good. Ethereum Spinner is 4 mana. It looks for 4 mana spells. We have 20 mana rocks, which is great. That's exactly where I want to be. What did you think about the border posts? Are these... do we shave lands for those, or do we just play more lands?
The border posts are a very niche spot. I guess it's a continued thing where I evaluate that card very highly in E-Sphinx because I care so much about Affinity.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I don't think it's as big of a deal. I do like that they are 3 mana rocks. Yep. I don't know if they are better than other 3 mana rocks. So I don't know if they need to be cut or replaced.
Well, if I cut them, I would just go up to 34 lands.
What are you at now? 33?
I'm at 32. Okay. So 32.
Yeah. I wouldn't go... I would like to see it at 33 at least.
33 would be like 2-ish lands. We do need to hit our 3rd land drop. It's pretty important. And these border posts are basically land drops.
Yeah, I like... Okay, that... And there's 2 of them. Yeah, I say you play them.
Okay. So I'm actually... It's kind of funny, but I'm going to put them under lands. Because that's exactly what they are.
How many basics do you have?
These require basics.
They do require basics.
I mean,
if you are at a low land count, all 3 of the Karoo lands in your colors are a huge deal. Having a Karoo land,
to re-trigger,
just means you get to make another land drop.
Yeah, I
Dimir
currently
Aqueduct.
have 26 mana rocks, or 25 mana, 25 basics. Sorry, basics. So that means usually these will work. They are kind of bad mana rocks, though. You know, that's another thing to keep in mind.
I think that the Karoo lands are going to be stronger.
Okay, so let's cut these, and we're gonna go. Which means I might want to add another couple of rocks here. The Breaking Bob, also known as Croxagore, talking about lands. We want to replace 3 basics with the bounce lands, aren't we? Yeah, dude. You were just talking about this.
He's on my wavelength.
He is. Yeah, you and Neuark are speaking the same language. So we want Dimir Aqueduct. If Moxfield here can... Yep, okay. And we go there. And then we're going to go...
It's an enters the battlefield effect on Sludge Strider, right? So that means those can pick up artifact lands and play again?
Yes, they can.
That's neat.
Azorius Chancery. That's it. And then we want Orzhov, yeah, Basilica. And then yep, that's great. And then that's 35 lands. I think we go to 34 is where we land. Let's see what the colors are. We're mostly blue with a little bit of black and white. So
are you running like Mortuary Mire or any of those?
No, but I am going to.
Okay, because like I don't think we need to try and make the mana base fit Witch's Cottage or Mystic Sanctuary. I think that's asking a lot.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna do Bajuka Bog. Oh, come on. Man, how is this so hard to find a card? It's like, I'm just do a simple query here. Mortuary Mire. So this gives us a lot of redundancy for being able to pick our combo up again. Chris Lively says, what's the thought on Sky Scanner? ETB draw card, has flying, so it's good both during the combo and when we're going for beats with plating. I don't hate that. What are your thoughts, Neuark?
It's gonna feel like a Chrome Courier. I had my reservations about it earlier, but honestly, a higher density of flying blockers is on my radar, because that was that's the one thing that Sludge Strider doesn't have is flying. So having more ways to block is probably good. We do probably want to look at instant speed removal as well.
Yeah, we're really light on removal right now.
Those blockers are going to be huge, especially, if you are running Glinthawk, that does make it better.
Yep.
I'm still iffy on the Glinthawk, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of good ways to...
I always consider Clockwork
Oh my god,
Fox.
Dude, so Clockwork Fox is a way to mill the table.
Is it a May?
No.
It's not a May.
It's not.
How...
I mean, this is like pretty fucking bad, right? Like
how often for value do you want to use that to draw 2 cards and also draw the table 2 cards? Because let's talk about that meta value, right? Those different orders. If you are playing for a long game like this, and you draw the biggest threat at the table 2 cards, but the people opposing the biggest threat 4 cards total, including yourself, so 6 cards.
Yep.
I don't want to make this argument sound better than it is, but in terms of turtling up, that card is pretty good at turtling up.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I don't know if that's good. I think I don't want to say it's good right now, but it's going to be something that I test. My
intuition says no, but my yeah, okay, Sky Scanner good, but the other one yeah, I don't know. It could be.
Aether Spellbomb in here?
I do not. And neither do I have Executioner's Capsule. I like Spellbomb a lot more.
Yeah. I like that we can find that off of Trinket Mage, and it also is instant speed interaction that can disrupt a combo.
Yep. Jonathan says, how's the build going? It's going great. We've kind of assessing each piece of the deck We got the mana base figured out.
Can you run me down the creatures? I don't think I know everything that we're running.
Yep, so we have cost reducers. We have things that untap with artifacts come into play. We have stuff that draws us cards on ETB that are artifacts. We have Trinket Mage, Archaeomancer effects. We have things like Sky Swimmer Koi and Cruel Witness that see artifacts and non-creature spells, and then you loot. And we have the Scrivener effects, or the Pneumatic Wall type stuff. And then we have our Gear Seeker Serpent, Mirror Enforcer, Sojourner's Companion. Chris Lively says the initiative creatures would be insane with this combo since you can go further every blink and bounce loop.
Oh, don't tempt us, Chris.
God.
Oh, no.
Well, Eric Crocker Sneak is a 1/4 flyer. So.
Oh, no, we got to do it.
Oh,
right?
dude, Battle Rager, they lose 5 if they don't block too, right? Or if they do block.
I think they've got to. I don't know if we need to focus as much on the combo. However, I would say, I was thinking of a package shift a little bit there, where Battered Golem is fine, but the Mirren Spy plus some of your mana rocks being creature mana rocks would also help other combo lines suddenly become evident.
Chris, you must know me well. I have just a rock hard erection for the initiative, and Vicious Battle Rager and Eric Crocker and Sneak are absolutely my vibe here.
Jonathan, you don't understand. It's not just about having infinite mana. It's about having infinite outlets.
He knows. He gets it. Dude, okay, there's so many different ways this goes ballistic.
Did you put Eric Cochran Sneak in there?
Yes, I did. I have not put Goliath Paladin. Ranger? Yep, I did, but I didn't put Goliath Paladin or the Underdark Explorer because I don't think that's what we need to be doing.
If we wanted another one, I would probably. Well, I would need to see how the deck plays first, but I would probably say the Underdark Explorer.
I mean, the Menace is pretty frightening too.
It's a closer with how much damage we're trying to slowly deal to the table over time, right? Yeah.
It's kind of a funny thing. Initiative wants to have more initiative around it. It doesn't need it, but there is a synergistic effect with having more of them. There's also the fact that if we do Throne of the Dead 3 and we flip Steelfin Whale into play as a hexproof combo enabler, and then we go Banishing Knack and we combo off, they can't interact with our combo.
I like that a lot.
That's really dirty. But I don't think with the commander being an outlet, yes. This commander does not have affinity, which means that this commander does slowly get priced out of the game. That being said, though,
we're gonna go. Yeah. It's a good one.
But you know what? Shame on you if you kill the Sludge Strider. Sludge Strider is gonna enter your dreams and murk you in your sleep because Sludge Strider is not a problem. This.
That's fair. I mean,
okay, so
I think there are going to be plenty of game states where I look at the Sludge Strider and go, I need to not have this happening right now.
But let's go meta on this, right? This deck is going to have 20 mana rocks. So, we play the Sludge Strider. It's only hitting one player. It's gaining me some life. Maybe that player isn't even you. And then you go to kill it, and they're like, ha ha ha! I cast it again, and it literally doesn't matter. Right?
I'm thinking about Ethereum Spinner right now.
Yeah.
I know we don't need to add more cards, but I really like the way it interacts with the versions of the combo that involve using Knack to unsummon the Archaeomancer effect.
To make infinite tokens. The thing is that we only have 8 7-mana spells.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 4 mana spells.
So when I think about that card, I'm also thinking about 11, package shifts,
12, 13,
which would mean
14.
Somber Hoverguard is coming in for something.
So there's 17 spells over for 4 mana or greater that make tokens, which is not actually not bad.
It's
gross with cranial plating.
So I'll say in Aether Sphinx, I don't run the Golem Foundry. and I don't run the Ethereum spinner, despite how much value they could generate. So that's probably a decent enough indication to say they are good, but they might not do what this deck wants right now.
Right.
However, the extra proc on the tokens with the Sludge Strider is kind of neat.
It's really neat. It's a neat thing, and maybe you know,
that one should go in considering.
Yeah, I really like this card a lot. I know that I just like things that when you cast spells, you get another creature, and the fact that these are flying is like.
Well, that's the big deal, because I don't want to say card names or spoil anything, but there was recently a commander for this format spoiled in Brothers War that does very quickly create tokens.
Yeah.
But
that deck
they don't have flying, and I'm really concerned that people are going to over-evaluate that commander. I think it'll be good. I don't think it's going to be that good.
Yeah, I hear you. We have Budget Brews gameplay. Welcome. Is this the esteemed Timmy T1000 entering the chat right now in our cPDH deck brew? Are we this honored to be in the presence of a dude? Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you on the chat. Thanks for joining this deck build today. Stoked to have you here. For those of you that don't know, this is Timmy T1000 from Budget Brews, who does a lot of stuff for cEDH Budget Brews. In fact, Timmy, if you want to send me a link to your YouTube channel, I will drop it in chat. For some reason right now, our chat is not allowing other people to post links, and I don't have a way to change that. But if you send it to me over Discord, I'll post a link here. It says, saw y'all online, figured I'd say hello. Well, stoked. Yeah, for sure. He's got great content over there. They do a lot of cool stuff. We are of the same mind in that we are both trying to make, Magic accessible to people, especially for these formats that people... either maybe think are inaccessible or just don't know about, like with cPDH. So
it's really crazy. I really appreciate you allowing me to just kind of hop into the stream, but then to be in a stream that has viewers of the content creators are viewing this stream when I view those content creators. That's
it's highly meta. Wild. It's very meta, and it's great. And really, like, part of the vision that Clay and I have for the tryhards in particular is to become a hub where we can support other people in making content, and there begins to be this sort of like knock-on effect of everybody like watching and enjoying each other's content, replaying and sharing and reposting and all this stuff. And that's exactly what YouTube wants to see when you're like monetizing content or when you're trying to push it out to the masses, is they want to see that your stuff is being interacted with. And so that's exactly what happens there. He says, looks like the link posted.
I don't see it on our end.
We're not seeing on our
just be on yours.
It may have been redacted. So if you can just send it to me through Discord, I will post it on here. Actually, I can just make my own invite link. Here, look at this. I got a brain too. We'll go no limit, never, generate a new link, bingo, bango, bongo, and we're in chat. Folks, this is a link to the Discord here for cEDH Budget Brews, if you're interested in that format. And then for YouTube, let's see, we'll go cEDH Budget Brews.
And Ryan, while you're working on that, would you send me a link to your current deck list that you've got right here, so I can kind of play along at home while I'm trying to help us find some cuts?
For sure. So actually, you can find it in the description for the video. The link is there. And then for those of you in chat, you can go into the description for this live stream, and you will see it there, a link to the list I am working on as we're there. Yeah, no problem.
It might be private.
Is it? No, it's unlisted. It is unlisted. But I will post this link in chat as well. This is the there is the deck list. Yeah. So anyways, this is a fun diversion. This is good. So we're to 104 cards. It's beautiful. Timmy's gonna appreciate this. This is a $35 deck right now, and we still have to cut cards.
Oh, really?
It's a $35 deck, and this thing is looking really potent.
This is a pretty sweet format, guys.
Yeah, pretty sweet format for sure. Okay, so in terms of cuts, I cut Glenhawk because Glenhawk isn't. It's not functioning with ETBs, and or it's going to return an artifact, and then we get to replay it, which is going to give us more triggers. But it's also only hitting. Gotta get the mask back on here for full cinematic effect here. It's not actually giving us a way to return our other important stuff like Trinket Mage, Archaeomancer, like the initiative cards. It's not giving us anything to return those things. It's only going to bounce like a rock, basically. So I'm not as excited about that. The place where Glinthawk thrives is when you have cards like Mycosynth Wellspring and Ichor Wellspring, and like in particular Experimental Synthesizer, ways to draw things over and over again, Prophetic Prism, Alchemist Vial, Spare Supplies, that kind of stuff. We don't actually have that in the deck right now. Like, our artifacts are all rocks, so it doesn't really make as much sense, whereas Core Skyfisher does, because we can actually like return some things that we might want to reuse over and over again that aren't our mana rocks. It could also even like return like a Bajuka Bog, or a Mortuary Mire, or a Mystic Sanctuary. These are all like really good hits for it. So yeah,
I'm kind of looking at the cuts that we can make here.
Yep, we got 4 cuts, and we really don't have any removal right now. Ooh, Curfew needs to be in the deck.
Yes.
Curfew
I think it fits. I think it might be one of those cards to keep your eye on and see how often you wished it was just hard removal.
I just broke Moxfield. One moment.
Because honestly, I'm trying to think if there's any way to fit like the creature package of removal in the flesh bags and those guys, and I'm not seeing it. However, my eye is being drawn to Cruel Witness right now for a cut.
Yeah, Cruel Witness is spicy though, man.
It's such a powerful effect. I just don't know.
Like what if we chain off like 3 or 4 mana rocks in a turn? Oh, we don't even have Treasure Cruise in here right now.
Yeah, that one's kind of, well, yeah, that one, or just because of how frequently we can rebuy it and how we're kind of trying to utilize the graveyard now, it might be just as potent to consider it. Like, how often are you going to cast it by delving 8, especially without like all of these sack lands?
Yeah.
When I like to run, I would run Terramorphic, Evolving, all of those is kind of my mana fixing. Especially
I think I'm
I
think I'm cutting it actually, because we don't really have a lot of stuff. We don't currently have a huge amount of stuff that's going to the graveyard. We have a lot of the rocks can go to the graveyard. We have the sacrificers that put them to the graveyard. We have some draw spells that go to the graveyard.
If you did want to run an effect like that, I'm not against like Brilliant Plan or the whatever the one that has the, if you paid 3 blue to cast it, you get to scry 3 after you draw 3.
Right.
Now I know it would be better if you scryed 3 first, but
yeah.
It's the effect that the draw 3 that's good here. There's always See the Future, the scry 2, draw 2, but I think it's more important for a deck like this to just have draw 3.
Yep.
The scry 2 is kind of take it or leave it. Everything in here is good.
Yeah. So Timmy just recommended Moonsnare Prototype, which seems like a great recommendation. This is functioning both as a mana rock and a removal spell. It is an expensive one, but we've got lots of mana. And it's also I
like Moonsnare.
Yeah, it's also uncounterable. So I like that a lot.
You know what else is uncounterable?
Oh yeah, Mirror Shell Crab. Yeah. See, Timmy, you led us down a road, and and Trinket Mage can actually tutor that too.
Of the initiative.
Yeah, if any of you have ever flipped a Mirror Shell Crab into play as an 8/10 Ward 3, if you haven't done that yet, you haven't lived.
It's kind of a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug. Yeah. Yep. See, you guys are all on it here. Breaking Bob. No, you weren't too slow, Bob. You were just thinking the same thoughts, and we're all on the same page, and that's beautiful. Chris said, would RKO Mender be good here? ETB return an artifact from grave to hand feels like a decent include to get back any piece of the combo if we want. I love it. But I'm going to chastise you for recommending other good cards when we're already trying to make cards. Bad.
RKO Mender does make things like spare supplies, Alchemist File. What's the other one? There's one. So Alchemist File says it can't attack or block. There's a different version of it that I thought the effect was more powerful on. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It was newer.
Spare supplies?
Spare supplies draws an extra card. It was... hold on, I gotta go look at my Abdel list now. I will have the name of this card in a second.
And says, why no Snuff Out? Seems like an upgrade over Go for the Throat. Yeah, we could play Snuff Out. I will say, though, that the meta right now is pretty... there's a lot of black creatures. And it is it is not... Yeah, so Snuff Out is good in this deck because we have life to pay for it, right? And that's powerful. But there are a lot of like black creatures that need to die. Yeah, it's heavy and black.
It is one of the few ones that has that restriction that I think is worth running. Like, I wouldn't recommend Doomblade right now, but Snuff Out's fine because it's free. Free-ish.
Yeah, it is. It is free. We also only have a couple of swamps in the deck. We only have 4 swamps in the deck, actually. So I think maybe this one doesn't actually make the cut. Because we don't have a lot of ways to get our basic lands. The only ways we have to tutor for basic lands, basically, and when I say tutor, is the initiative. So actually, I don't think Snuff Out does make it here. Unfortunately, it's a very good spell. We could...
I think that you're asking for a lot out of your basics by trying to run Mystic Sanctuary.
Well, I've got 14 islands.
I know, but that's why it's asking a lot of your basics.
Oh, you're saying that's too many?
Well, it's just like, it's not allowing you to diversify them, or it's also kind of putting pressure on your ability to, like... I mean, so say we do want to do that. Some of these islands can turn into the multiple dual lands that we have that enter tapped.
Oh, that's a really good point. So we're going to do Contaminated... Yeah, actually, no, that's a really good point. We might actually be able to play Snuff Out if we do this. It's Contaminated Aquifer. We have the blue one is Ice Tunnel, blue-black. And so we've got both blue-black ones. And then that can cut 2 islands.
And then at that point, you're so low on white mana costs that between your mana rocks, you can probably just go down to a plains that you can find off of the initiative. Because your mana fixing otherwise is really, really good because of your mana rocks.
Yeah, I don't think that we need to go too deep into... Like, our mana fixing should never be a problem. We have 20 cards.
You can go up on the swamps if you cut some plains.
Or we could go...
You don't need that much white, even with Righteous Aura. Like,
yeah.
You've got 1, 2, 3... You've got 4 white spells in your main deck, not including the commander.
I want to make a mention here. Timmy mentioned the card Dispatch. And for those of you that don't know, Dispatch is 1 white. You tap a creature, but if it's instant speed. But if you've got Metalcraft, it's exile target creature. And this is a card that I have had on my Pauper Downshift wish list for a long time. And I'm going to post it here in chat. This is an eternal list, as in, like, I keep adding to it, but all the cards that you see on there that are already made into commons are ones that I got right. Yeah. So, so check that out. This is kind of a vision that I have for other stuff that could be downshifted in the format.
Is Dispatch not a common?
It's not. It's an uncommon. Timmy says, go for it. Seems so good if it was... I know. Dispatch would be amazing. And the funny thing about Dispatch is that it's not broken in Pauper because you have to have Metalcraft, and there are like certain decks that can make Metalcraft, but it's very narrow. It's basically like a mono white, like basically the deck that I used to play was called White Steel, and basically you're doing like a mono white Metalcraft thing with Glinthawk, Core Skyfisher. You're playing like Ornithopters and like Tooth of Chiscoria, and you're playing Porcelain Legionnaire, Bone Splitter, Ginger Brute, things like that. And then you basically have like a really aggressive game plan with Ardent Recruit as well. And then what's the other one? It's called Auriok Sunchaser. So in that deck, you could feed it. Or if you wanted to skew into some sort of like white, blue, red Jeskai affinity, you could do something like that too. But it demands a lot from the deck to have Dispatch in it. So I really like that. And it would give white the removal it needs to be a better color in Pauper. Jin Shooting Star says, no, Dispatch is so good. Well, I think we have to recognize, though, that Pauper is not a format with bad cards in it. Like we just had, we just had Monastery Swiftspear downshifted. We have Go Through the Throat downshifted. We have a lot of really powerful cards in the format. And it's just that the flavor of the format is less bomb-oriented. The removal and the answers, the counterspells and the answers, the removal, the counterspells, the graveyard hate are all better in this format as related to the threats than any other format. And that same for cPDH.
White
needs the help. It needs the help. Yeah,
it's getting a lot of attention in normal EDH.
Yep.
But
cPDH
it's okay for it to get some attention here too, I think.
Yeah. And I know it's a really good color right now and like modern and stuff. So people are like, oh no, like please don't give white any more good stuff, because you just got the what's the new enchantment. They got the containment field or whatever it's called. Leyline Binding.
Field?
No, they got Leyline Binding, which is the new 1 mana kill anything, basically. That's a journey at instant speed. And then we have Jin saying, how good are bounce effects in PDH? The bounce effects used to be better when they were disrupting combos, but the bounce effects now are a little bit less good, because a lot of times we just want to kill that thing. But we do play them. Like Echoing Truth is very important because it bounces tokens. Boomerang is another one that's good because it bounces lands. And with decks like Gretchen out there, and Leyweaver, Loreweaver out there, and even Satyr Enchanter, they load up their lands with a lot of auras. And if you can bounce the land, you completely destroy their combo. Not to mention that if you ever run across like a Seed Cradle Witch, you just end their career. But also bouncing permanents is important for things like Oubliette, being able to remove an Oubliette. So, and then Chris says, yeah, Affinity and Pauper doesn't even play white, and I don't think Dispatch would affect that much at all. Exactly. So Chris is totally right. Like you can play Dispatch in in like a warped version of the currently good decks, and it would be very good, but it would also be like a very narrow range of decks. And I think a removal spell that only fits into a certain couple of decks, or that you have to stretch for, is a good thing. So Chris Lively says, Resculpt, is it good in cPDH? I think Resculpt is great, but you really have to consider that the opponent's going to have a 4/4. So like one of the best homes for Resculpt in the whole format is Murmuring Mystic, because Murmuring Mystic is a 1/5. So when you Resculpt your opponent's creature, they get this 4/4, and they know they can never get at you with it, and so they attack other people. So it's like a 2 mana, exile target creature or artifact, and then your opponents attack each other with this 4/4. It's a very good home for it.
Oh god, it's so good alongside Protective Sphere and Righteous Aura.
Which one? What is?
The Resculpt. It's so good along Protect. Like, I don't know if it's good in this deck, but it's definitely got my brain turning.
Oh, that you could just like never take damage off of the 4/4?
Yeah.
Yep, that's a consideration. I think Resculpt probably doesn't go in this deck, but maybe. I don't know. We're in black, so like, why do we? What artifacts do we care about? And like, if we're killing creatures, then why don't we just play like a good creature removal spell instead? Would be my thought. Yeah, that's kind of. And then Timmy T says, how about Cannibalize? So Cannibalize is 1 black and a colorless. I don't know if it's instant or sorcery speed, but basically you choose 2 creatures, and your opponent sacrifices one of them and exiles it. I think they actually exile it, and then the other one gets +1/+1 counters. So we can find this card. Cannibalize. Nibble. Yeah, so Cannibalize. Let's see the new text on this card. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player, exile one of those creatures, and put 2 +1/+1 counters on the other. It's a sorcery. It's basically like kind of a bad edict. I don't think we play this card. There are some better options we have for removal, and like Obnixilus's Cruelty is a 3-mana exile target creature. Basically, it's -5/-5. If it dies, it's exiled. We have the new. This is a spoiler. What was that one called? We have it in Discord right now. It is called. This is a spoiler, so close your ears if you don't want to hear it. But we do spoilers around here. Is called something like Crushing. Ooh, Runaway Together is good in this deck. Yeah, Runaway Together is really good. The new spoiler is called Overwhelming Remorse, but it's not going to be good in this particular deck because we need creatures. As we're building this, they just spoiled a new card called 1U Instant. If you control an artifact, it costs 1 less. Return a non-land to its owner's hand.
I think, given the deck construction, the amount of mana that we have, we would probably want to play Aether Trade Winds before that. That is a very cool card.
That is a very cool card. Yeah.
But the pickup, even pick up Mirror Shell Crab.
Yeah.
With Aether Trade Winds.
I like
the worst line in the world, and there are better lines than that, obviously.
I really like Runaway Together though. This is a great card in this deck. Runaway Together is an instant speed. You can bounce 2 creatures controlled by different players. That is like 2 mana, bounce 2 of your opponent's things if they've got different players, return them to their owner's hands, but we can also use it to protect our own things. So somebody goes to kill our thing and we go Runaway Together, bounce my thing, hit somebody else's. It's an extraordinarily high value spell that belongs in a lot of decks. It doesn't hit non-land permanents, but it's totally fine. This is a very, very good
There might
card.
be a better version of that card. I gotta remember what it does exactly. But in E-Sphinx, there is one that is very similar to that I run that I think is better than it. Same mana cost.
Interesting.
I also figured out what that other one that I was looking up was. It was the Wedding Invitation.
Yeah, Wedding Invitation.
It's better, but it does make sure that you can get back the initiative or Monarch if you lose it, which I really like.
Yep. Definitely. We have. Let's see. See if we can figure out what you were talking about here. There's Depart the Realm. There's Depth of Desire, which does bounce a creature and then makes a treasure, which is kind of cool. We might even
like Withdraw.
Withdraw is good.
Withdraw is 2 blue. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Then return another target creature to its owner's hand unless that controller plays 1. So if somebody's tapped out, you can unsummon 2 things. If not, you can just target one of your own things and not pay the 1.
I don't think it's better, but I think it's very good, and I think we want it.
How would it not be better than Runaway Together can target 2 things by different people? I was thinking
exactly.
What was I comparing that to? There's a different one that unsummons a creature you control and a creature you don't control.
But you're totally
reality.
Peel from reality. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
We could play Sword Coast Serpent as well, which will always be unblockable.
I was literally just about done with cuts from the list that we had.
I mean, this is going to be so brutal. Like,
I did cut. I cut the worst of the black. Sacrifice a creature, draw a spell because sacrifice a thing because Perilous Research doesn't have it as part of the cost, which means that it's harder to counterspell to just have you lose something. I kept Reckoner's Bargain and Deadly Dispute. I don't know what the other one was.
So the Perilous Research, I think, is better than Costly Plunder because the sacrifice only happens on Perilous Research if it resolves. Draw 2, so then sacrifice.
Draw 2 before you pick what you sack.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I really like the Sword Coast Serpent. This one might not survive, but this is like such a cool card because we've got all this mana. It's 2 mana bounce, which is fine. It's like 1 mana more than unsummon. And then once we play it, it's unblockable every turn that we cast a rock, right? So
I really like that it's also like we are adding threat density to a deck that has a combo.
Yep.
And that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6/6. It's a fucking 6/6. Like
an unblockable one with a commander that's already draining. Like we can still just kill people.
Yeah, I really like that. I didn't have Gush in the deck, I just realized, and I didn't have Deprive in the deck, which are both ways to return Mystic Sanctuary. But
I think that's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't think that these are necessary. I'm just going to put them in considering for now. Withdraw could go in.
I would run Mirror and Spy before I ran either of those, I think.
Yeah, Mirror and Spy is interesting. I think we're going to not play Withdraw just yet. We are on 9 removal spells. We don't have any sweepers in the deck. We have 6 counter spells.
I'll send you the edits I've made so far because they're not going to be the same as what you have. But this is my current.
I still have Alchemist Vial, Ichor Wellspring, and Mycosynth Wellspring in the deck. I guess those could go, right?
I cut Witching Well before I cut those.
Witching Well. So one thing that's nice here is at Trinket Mage, now we're going to have like a ton of different things to pick up with that. So Witching Well is card draw. Blood Fountain is basically card draw, but it's more like recursion in this case.
I mean, Aether Spellbomb and Nihil Spellbomb also kind of do this thing.
They do. They both. Well, yeah. And then we have removal. The main thing is that Trinket Mage is going to be insane in this deck. We've got so many different targets for it. And
I think between Spellbombs and the Mana Rock and the lands, as much as I like the Witching, and Blood Fountain. So like Blood Fountain can in a way grab card draw in the super roundabout version of pick up any of your card draw creatures. Like you could pick up Chrome Courier and Sky Scanner. You could pick up Archaeomancer and Thoughtcast.
How are we picking it up?
With Blood Fountain.
Oh, with Blood Fountain, or even like Blood Fountain can get it back from our graveyard, but Aether Spellbomb can also return something to our hand. So we've got lots of ways to do that.
I'm putting the harsh scrutiny on the Wishing Well just because it seems redundant given the other options we have. They're not as efficient, but at a certain point, the deck's already very efficient. We need cuts.
Yeah, no, we do. I think Witching Well is actually fairly low impact. I really like that it's cheap, that it's scrying. It's also drawing cards by sacrificing it, which is its own trigger. And it's tutorable, but like I'm not sure that we ever go for Witching Well over something as good as Blood Fountain or like Everflowing Chalice is probably going to be my find in a lot of cases, right?
I also don't know if we need both Nihil Spellbomb and Tormod's Crypt.
One of them's a combo card. The other one can be a combo card if we have Ethereum Sculptor. And having 2 pieces of Graveyard Hate, well, we have 3 actually. We have Bojuka Bog too. And Bojuka Bog is very reusable in this deck. Maybe we do cut one of these. Do we cut... I mean, Crypt is automatically a combo card.
It's also a combo piece, right? So I think it's got to be
Spellbomb. Yeah, we got lots of card draw. Got to catch up on some comments here. We got Chris Lively saying, could we Peregrine Drake to the deck, add Peregrine Drake to the deck, since we're already on Blink combos, since it also swings with plating? Well... First of all, great recommendation. Second of all, shame on you for recommending good cards when we're honestly, trying to make cuts. It's so good. It's so already good.
I was trying to bite my tongue away from it because like I've thought of that, and I'm glad that Breaking Bob is saying the things that I was afraid
he's eating the bullet for you. You're a martyr.
So, and like on that same mindset, as soon as you throw Peregrine Drake in there, it's such a low cost to throw Ghostly Flicker or Displace in as well,
which we already have
alongside the other ones, which is like not the goal of the deck to combo with Flicker Drake. We've all seen it. We've all done it.
It's such a tired combo.
It's so easy, especially like with the Dramatic Reversal being in there as well. Dramatic Reversal will function as another version of Drake. We don't need to tutor for any of these pieces.
No.
They just, you just stumble upon
them. We draw them with Rush of Knowledge when we draw 7.
I've never cast Rush of Knowledge and not comboed off that turn.
Yeah, that's a good point. And with all the ways to return it, it's very powerful. I mean, I'm going to be honest, like Chris has got a point with Retraction with Peregrine Drake, namely because ooh, I'm eating some spicy beef jerky right now.
Peregrine Drake even gets so much stronger with the
Oh my god. I'm dying. Somebody send water.
He's spooked.
Jerky was a bad choice.
And,
Okay.
happy Halloween, everybody! Again, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. For the folks who are still here, thank you so much for joining the stream today, for being here with Noyark and I, and for hanging out and helping us build this deck. I love the interactions we get with chat and the sort of back and forth we get, the community interaction. We had Jin Shooting Star here saying hi to Timmy. Clearly part of the same communities there. So just love having you all here, and thank you so much for your time, attention, and support.
Yeah, like the recommendations for some of these cards are not things I would have thought of, for sure.
Peregrine
Like
Drake, man.
Runaway Together was a really good shout for this deck,
Yep.
and not something that I think I would have normally considered. But we have so many good ETBs of our own to bounce, and then just like, no, as a matter of fact, you don't have a combo piece, and then some other opponent is tempo down. Like, huge.
Yep. Yeah.
Are we off Protect Righteous Aura?
I mean,
I don't want to be.
No, I don't want to be either.
First recommendation for the deck.
Part of my thought is that Righteous Aura is doing what removal does a little bit, but I will say Chris was absolutely right. We just play Peregrine Drake, and the reason for that is that we already have the rest of the combo in the deck. Like, not only do we have 3 of the bounce lands, we have Dimir Aqueduct, we have Azorius Chancery, and we have Orzhov Basilica, which all mean that if we untap, we actually go, we're going mana positive that way. Just a normal.
Right. We don't cut Righteous Aura. That's functioning as a form of removal.
It is a form of removal. It's ending combat damage from, we're not likely to die to damage. We could die from a Dargo. Right. And if we have this, we will never die from the Dargo. We have Breaking Bob here.
Kill Dargo are going to kill combos too. Like, that's our main concern here, is we got to not die to somebody else's combo. And
or to
Righteous Aura is what allows us to not care as much, because we don't have to spend removal on creatures.
Dude.
Like it's good.
We've got an absolutely amazing chat here from Breaking Bob, also known as Croxagore on Discord, saying, yeah, didn't think it would be so exciting that I'd be so awake from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., but I'm not tired at all, smiley face. Oh,
isn't that spooky?
What a hero, dude. Yeah, that is he's in the witching hour.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. This is awesome. Okay, so we're down to the last 5 cuts. We have 33 lands, which doesn't seem like enough. We need to probably add one more.
We put in the good mana leak in the form of the Mirror Shell Crab. Let's cut the bad mana leak.
The Rebuke
has Metalcraft.
So my thought is that these are actually in a lot of ways defensive counter spells for our opponent's stuff. Because what I'm seeing here is that we have like a bazillion different ways to go infinite that all like link back onto each other. And if they stop us once, that is really just fine. That's okay. We're going to be okay.
Well, no, I just mean, like, even if it is defensive, I don't know if it's better as like that kind of soft counter defensive as compared to like hard removal defensive.
Oh, sure. Which we don't really have. We have like go for the throat.
Which is not, it's not a solution. It's not a cut. However, I think another testament to our ability to block and not care as much about creatures is Golem Foundry. If we want to keep that line.
Yep, I like Golem Foundry.
I don't know how effective it'll be compared to, like, it might be worth considering how good Golem Foundry feels at protecting yourself in games when you're playtesting versus what if this was Protective Sphere? Like, Golem Foundry sure does create creatures that attack, but sometimes that, like, this effect seems like it's trying to do a little bit of both, whereas the Protective Sphere is just like, all right, I'm protecting myself. The game plan is now I'm going to combo.
Yeah.
Whereas the Golem Foundry is like, this is protecting me a little bit, but I also have cranial plating and I'm just killing you anyways.
Yeah, right. I think that there's a good, like, I could see Golem Foundry being just like really powerful in this deck. We have 40 artifacts. Yeah, Chris, what you'll find in the stream is that the additions are easy, the cuts are where the lion's share of the stream actually happens, which is kind of funny because in some ways it's like the least compelling, but it's also from the standpoint of deck building, this is always the hardest part, and this is one of the things that I like to showcase is like really getting analytical about what it is that we keep and what it is we lose, because a deck is not, we don't choose decks or commanders that don't have enough good cards to make them good. We only choose commanders where there's like a plethora of good cards. And so reaching that point where you have to make really hard cuts is usually confirmation that you're onto something.
As another point to that, it also is really hard to make cuts when you are collaborating with another person.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are collaborating with an entire chat, it's really hard to like see, here's somebody's thing, go, wow, that was a great idea. Have consensus from the rest of chat, that was a good idea. And then analyze that card later and be like, well, do we really need it?
Yeah.
Because that's why, like, that's why I wanted to go back and like, well, maybe Righteous Aura, that was my first suggestion. Is it actually good right now? And you kind of have to start going through and really micro-analyzing all of this, because it turns out it was good, but there was very much a possibility that it wasn't.
Right,
and
right.
So there's that same possibility is going to be there for a lot of these cards.
This is one of the reasons why I double stack tags, which means that I will drop cards into multiple tag areas, because Golem Foundry, similar to Protective Sphere, is probably most often just going to make blockers. It makes 3/3 blockers, and it's going to do so passively, which is good. And those things will basically so maybe part of it is this. If we get Golem Foundry versus we get Protective Sphere, Golem Foundry makes blockers and attackers, and it also creates triggers for our commander, which is really synergistic. Whereas Protective Sphere is going to shut off combo or damage from a certain source, which are really similar in a sense, right? So if the Golem Foundry is better than Protective Sphere, then, right? I think that's how the cookie crumbles on that. We're gonna get some lo-fi bass here for y'all to enjoy, seeing as some of you are up late tonight. Yeah, get some vibes up in here. Noyark, are you there? Check. Might have lost my man Noyark. That's okay. We will continue on and see when he comes back here.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
I had to run. There were some trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. Of course. It is Halloween. My man's back. Okay, so in terms of cards, do we cut Scrivener and just say that we have like enough redundancy with 3 of them and the other combos in the deck? I think that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's 1 of 5 cuts.
We also have to consider there are more lines than just the combo to win the game. We don't have to have
tons of lines here. Costly
and we
Plunder.
Do have ways to pick them up.
Costly Plunder is also the worst of the sacrifice draw cards, so we could play that, cut that. We could say Cruel Witness is very good, okay, but is Cruel Witness as good as Sky Swimmer Koi? We have the initiative cards.
Both of those were on my chopping block.
Both of those are on your chopping block. Sky Swimmer Koi is crazy to get rid of, though, right?
Well, so they're both like really good card filtering, right?
So powerful. And they're doing the same thing, actually, in a way, right? Because you're saying card neutral with both of these.
And like, how much card filtering? Now, I know this is a 100 card format, and this is a 100 card format where we don't have oodles of mythics at our disposal, but like, we're playing a deck with a lot of good cards in it. Hopefully, we don't need that kind of filtering. Would be the like gameplay. That's not always true. Like in certain situations, you want to dig for certain cards, but at that point, I would just run higher, like more powerful card draw, rather than like, it is a good creature. It does fly. It does carry the cranial plating.
Yeah, that's there's a couple of layers to that I really like. And they
I think one of
also
them's gotta go at least.
they also allow us, particularly Sky Swimmer Koi, allows us when we're comboing off. Well, I guess if we go infinite, we don't need a way to find anything because we just get Sludge Strider, put him into play with our infinite mana, and then we kill the table.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Damn, I don't want to cut these cards though.
I think.
I mean,
So what's the power toughness on Sky Swimmer? It's
they're both
3/4?
3/3s.
Okay. Sky Swimmer is only on artifacts.
Only artifacts. Cruel Witness is Surveil, so it's not actually drawing us cards. That's the other thing. So.
And Sky Swimmer draws and discards.
Yeah, it loots. So I think it's better than Cruel Witness.
Okay. Cruel Witness. Fabricio says that we should try and include the
Tron lands.
No.
Oh,
I love the suggestion. We gotta not.
I think that the Tron lands are very unlikely that we get it, right? Because like the ways that we would find Tron lands normally would be our expedition map, or in green we would have some way to tutor for lands with crop rotation, but we're not doing any of those things. So the likelihood is that they're just lands that make one colorless, and we're in a 3-color deck.
It's an ultimate high roll, but we don't need a high roll.
Yeah,
we need a greater floor of our deck. That's what all of this is we're raising the floor. The ceiling is going to be through the roof the majority of the time with any deck.
Yeah. What about...
And while the Tron lands are sometimes good, I think in the majority of cases for Pauper EDH, you don't need that kind of high roll.
The Tron lands are really hard to find. That's the main thing. Especially because crop rotation oftentimes has a second mode on it that is, or the primary mode on crop rotation is to either find Mystic Sanctuary, a Karoo land that bounces your Mystic Sanctuary, Mortuary Mire, Witch's Cottage, or in some cases it'll be finding Sejuri Step. But then the other one is that it's often finding like Opal Palace. So a lot of times, even if you had that card in your deck, you wouldn't want to find a Tron land because you might only have one Tron land in play, and finding another one doesn't actually get you Tron. You need all three. So the crop rotation, yeah. So I think it's beside the point, though. It's pretty hard for us to get Tron, and we already make a lot of mana. So I think that's not where we need to go.
To Fabricio's credit, we have a lot of mana fixing in the form of the rocks.
Yep, tons.
I don't think that necessarily merits playing the Tron lands, but I can see that it really wouldn't be lowering the floor of the deck too much.
Right.
Which is like the big deal, right? It's always got to be, you're raising the floor. That's what this format, every single card needs to matter.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's an interesting thought for sure, especially because we are an artifact deck that cares about sacrifices and ETBs, and Expedition Map is an artifact that sacrifices itself to find a land. So I think that there could be a build of this deck where you do play Expedition Map, and then you're doing maybe something a little bit different. We are down to 2 cuts, and y'all have been heroic in chat, sticking with us on this spooky Halloween evening. Really glad to have you all here. Just as a reminder, if you are enjoying this content, go hit the subscribe button and get notifications about the rest of the stuff we're making. I have made content most of the days over the last 7 days, over the last week time span. I've been making a lot of content, and Clay has been doing a bunch of stuff too. So go watch some of our other content. Leave us a like. If you have any comments or any feedback, you can either respond in Discord directly to me or in the YouTube comments. I read all of those. And that all really helps support this project and the content we're making. So thank you for being here. We have Bipolar Bears just popped in. What is the finisher of the deck? Well, first of all, great to have your Bear. Thank you for joining us. The combos are numerous in this deck.
And that's not all.
The combos in this deck are okay, we're going to talk about classes of combos, okay? Because there's these packages that go together. One of them is Retraction Helix and Banishing Knack, which are functionally the same card. 1 mana, grant a creature the ability to tap and return a permanent back to your hand. And this works really well if that creature then untaps with the thing that we bounced and then put back into play. So with Banishing Knack and Tormod's Crypt or Ever-Flowing Chalice, or if we have Affinity equals 7, then Sojourner's Companion and Mirror Enforcer. So we do Banishing Knack on a Battered Golem, or on a Steelfin Whale, which have the same text. And then we bounce our free thing, which taps it. We put the free thing into play, and then we untap it. If we do that and we have Cabal Paladin in play, we deal 2 damage with each one of those cycles and we win the game. If we have a discounter, we can do this with more and more expensive artifacts. So for example, with one of these in play, we can do it with a Arcane Signet, or a Felwar Stone, or a Mind Stone, or a Thought Vessel, which actually ends up going, I believe that ends up going mana neutral on that particular case. Although I think we run out of, one, enter, it goes mana neutral. Yep. And then if you have 2 of these, then you can go up the scale. So there's that one. The Banishing Knack also works with one of the other combos in the deck, which is with our Archaeomancer, Pneumatic Wall, and Salvager of Secrets, which all basically read, enter the battlefield, return a sorcery and instant from your graveyard to your hand. And basically we can bounce these in and out of play if we have Dramatic Reversal. So we go tap all of our stuff, float it, Dramatic Reversal, we untap all of it, we play Salvager of Secrets or Archaeomancer or Pneumatic Wall, we get the Dramatic Reversal back, we cast it, floating all of our stuff, and then we go Retraction Heal it, bounce it, and then we can do that over and over and over again. The win condition is in our command zone with Sludge Strider. So if we ever go infinite with some sort of enter the battlefield thing, which is all of our combos, then Sludge Strider reads you can pay 1 when something enters, and you can pay 1 when something leaves to drain somebody for 1. So that's one of the other combos. The other one is that because we are running Ghostly Flicker and Displace, which can get our spells back over and over again, we are also running
Drake too.
Peregrine Drake. Yeah. So if we go, if we have a Archaeomancer and Peregrine Drake in play, and we go Ghostly Flicker, they flicker out and they come back in. Peregrine Drake untaps the lands. Archaeomancer finds the Ghostly Flicker in the graveyard, which just resolved, and you get it back. And that goes mana infinite because you're spending 3 mana for the Ghostly Flicker and you're getting 5 untapped with the Peregrine Drake. So that makes us infinite mana. Once we have infinite mana, then we can go Sludge Strider, and then we can basically, draw a bunch of cards, find our stuff, find an artifact that we can flicker. If we ever, in that exchange, if we get Mirror Enforcer, then what we can do is instead of, once we've made infinite mana, we go Ghostly Flicker on Archaeomancer and Mirror Enforcer, and then we just pay 1 every time with our commander, and we drain the table out that way. So there's those combos. The other thing that we're doing as a win condition is we have stuff like Golem Foundry, which, making tons of stuff. Do you have another combo?
Okay, Ghostly Flicker plus one of the untapped artifact lands and Archaeomancer.
Ghostly Flicker plus an untapped artifact land plus what?
Archaeomancer.
With infinite mana? Wait,
no.
How does that...
Oh, no, wait, it doesn't generate mana for the Archaeomancer. I got ahead of myself. I thought...
That's fine.
But I saw that you don't need very much mana generation. You can go mana neutral.
Yep.
With that, I don't know if there is any way to do it, but if you go mana neutral, that's also a way with Sludge Strider in play to go to
flicker. Damage. Yep. Ghostly Flicker does flicker artifacts as well and lands, so that is noteworthy. The other thing we have in the deck is Cranial Plating. And so one of the things that we're doing is we have 40 artifacts in the deck. Cranial Plating is going to rapidly turn anything into a very lethal threat. And what that's nice with is that we just happen to have a lot of evasive creatures. So we have Sword Coast Serpent, which is a bounce spell, but then once we play it, it says it can't be blocked if you've cast a non-artifact spell this turn. So we can attach the Cranial Plating to it and kill people, in a lot of cases, in one shot if we're in the mid-game. Starnheim Courser is flying, so we can attach it to that. We have cards like Gearseeker Serpent, which can become unblockable. We have cards like Vicious Battle Rager, which are really hard to block. They're painful to block. We have Sky Swimmer Koi, which is flying. Aarakocra Sneak has flying. Sky Scanner has flying. Chrome Courtier has flying, and so does Core Skyfisher. So basically, there's a lot of redundancy there in terms of things we can attach Cranial Plating to actually kill people. So we have a lot of different combos in the deck that all sort of link together in different ways, but we also have the Cranial Plating. And now we're down to 2 cuts. So we are down to the...
Very briefly, so because this started as just knack combo, and then Jonathan, I was like, well, why not just do the dramatic reversal, right? But Jonathan helped me realize that that also does just combo with knack stuff. So we're like, oh, the cost of inclusion here is very low.
Yep.
And then the cost of inclusion for the Archaeomancers was very low, and then the cost of inclusion for the Flickers was very low, and then the cost of inclusion for the Peregrine Drake was very low. I think, now I'm not saying that any of these need to get cut, but it's a consideration because we kind of just went a little bit nuts there.
We did, yeah. And it's interesting, this deck actually is much like Aethersworn Sphinx, which for those of you that don't know, a Noyark, who is on the call right now, is the progenitor of probably the highest power Aethersworn Sphinx. It is the highest power and most scary Aethersworn Sphinx combo list. Aethersworn Sphinx is 9 mana, has Cascade and Affinity, and basically it just has all these combos, and they're really similar. There's Peregrine Drake, there's all the Archaeomancers, there's Ghostly Flicker, there's Dramatic Reversal. It doesn't play the knack cards right now, but basically it's a similar vibe. And what we're seeing here is that when it comes to these artifact synergies and making infinite mana, a lot of times we will find ourselves in multiple different combos, and it's like very easy and free to bring them in, right? Like it was incredibly free to bring in Peregrine Drake because we were already doing things. And look, Peregrine Drake is just a 2/3 flyer. So if we're like Peregrine Drake, we untap our stuff and then we put a cranial plating on it, like we can win that way too. Like
you can Peregrine Drake cast Rush of Knowledge. That's like. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of really cool lines.
It's a very interesting deck that makes a ton of mana. The only thing we're lacking right now is I think we're a bit light on like removal and that sort of stuff. The reason that we are is because we gain a ton of life with Sludge Strider. So I think that the vibe is that we don't need it as much. We have a little bit of it. We're going to deploy these only when somebody's about to kill us. So
as far as testing goes, my eyes are going to be on Golem Foundry.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth cutting yet without testing, but Golem Foundry and maybe is Metallic Rebuke still in?
Nope, Metallic Rebuke is out.
So, but some of those, there's a few of those cards that in testing might get swapped in for more hard removal. Right now, as far as cuts go, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, Golem Foundry, I really like that it's just producing a ton of blockers and attackers. And I think that in a lot of ways is doing what removal might, which is that if there's a problematic combat-based permanent that's coming after us, then Golem Foundry is going to produce blockers, which either disincentivize that combat or can attack or can kill things in combat. So I like Golem Foundry for that reason, but I understand like that with the tightness of slots right now, that might be one of them. Could it be that we cut some of the rocks? We are at 19.
I don't know if it's the rocks. What
what if we went like if we had 17 rocks, that's still like a fuckzillion rocks, right?
I don't know. I'm always high on the rocks. But did we cut
How many rocks does Sphinx have?
I've got it open in another window here. Let me
Oh, you know what? We could play Mana Geode in here too as a target for Flicker.
Sphinx has 27 rocks.
Oh, Jesus. Mana Geode's really good here, isn't it? Like
I'm huge on that card.
Because if we have Ghostly Flicker and we go infinite, then Mana Geode can be flickered to find our thing.
I mean, even like that's cool. Playing your 3 mana rock on turn 3 that scries a card is also just like really, really good value.
Is that better than
take a little bit of mana investment for Bonder's Ornament and those other cards to draw, which is fine. But even like scrying, looking at the top of your library and seeing that there's a land there and you need a land, or seeing that there's a land there and you don't need a land is pretty big game.
I'm going to cut Locket, and I'm going to cut the Orzhov Locket and the Orzhov Cluestone for Mana Geode, and then we're down to one more card. I think with 18 mana rocks and 34 lands, we're looking at, so it's 44, 52 mana sources.
Do you still have any of the Prophetic Prism, Alchemist Vial, those type cards in?
Nope, I don't.
Okay, because that's where I was going to be for the cuts. Unfortunate that they're gone, but I think It's okay.
So I'm just going to take a look. Fabricio recommended Apprentice Wizard as a card that is a mana dork in blue that makes triple colorless for 1 blue. So it's essentially tapping for 2 colorless, which, ooh, and we didn't put our Chaomander in here. Although, is there really much artifact stuff that we care to get back? I don't think so. There's Angelic.
Like, there's good things that if they get removed, we care about getting them back, but like that's if people want to interact with us, that we can't just pretend like we can stop people from interacting with us. That's
the idea is that we
kill them through it. Oh god, Ashes to Ashes.
I know, Ashes to Ashes is very good here. There's also Automated Artificer, which is the 2 mana 1/3 that you can tap to make a colorless only for artifacts and abilities. There's
just a lot of good mana dorks that would be good if we were playing Mirren Spy, but we're not playing Mirren Spy. And if we do want to, we could reevaluate the rocks list. I don't know if we need any other cards right now, though.
No, I shouldn't even be looking at more cards, but I am.
Even, like, if you did want to look at more cards, I would say with the amount of mana you're producing, it's not a big ask to slam down some of those 6 mana 4/5 hexproofs. Those are big game.
They are very good. Yep, they are.
I do like Dispeller's Capsule.
Damn, Fairy Mechanist is also really good. But it's only finding artifacts. Dispeller's Capsule's good.
I like Dispeller's Capsule because it's like, it's not often that we want to remove that type of permanent, but when the opponent plays a what's the blue common background?
Oh, sorry, I missed a comment here. We got by Bear Hierophant's Chalice can be a win con at neutral. So Hyro.
It does only produce colorless mana, but
that's okay.
It is good.
Yeah, check my.
I would say if Hierophant's Chalice could be a win con at neutral. If we do want to include cards like that, we don't have Pristine Talisman, and in my dramatic reversal list, I love Pristine Talisman.
So what does it look like to go infinite with Hierophant's Chalice? Is that that means if we have 3 cost reducers in play, then we can use this to Banishing Knack and go infinite. But that's 3 cost reducers, which is probably not likely. If we have 2, it still works.
It can be Ghostly Flickered.
It still works with 2 as well because it makes a mana. So it comes in, we float a mana, we bounce it, we play it again. So that's with 2 of them. It can be Ghostly Flickered, right?
I don't know. I think that like the fact that Sludge Strider is
already a payoff
in most situations, that it might be like Hierophant. I would argue that Pristine Talisman is going to generate more value because part of our problem, like, we do need to also stay alive, and Sludge Strider is going to help with that, but it does cost mana. And Hierophant's Chalice killing them is fine, but I think we've got a lot of ways to kill them. I like that Pristine keeps us alive.
Bear says, I fully thought Chalice was a 2-drop. Yeah, that does make it worse. But it's really cool that it's a payoff. It's just the thing we have to think about is, like, with the payoffs, is like if at any point we are, because what you're talking about there is more of a storm, right? Because if we reduce it by 1, well, let's see. So if we reduce it by 1 with Hierophant's Chalice, and we do the Banishing Knack thing with a Battered Golem, or with with our Battered Golems, the other one is the Steelfin Whale. Then if we have a mana reducer, we cast it for 2, we pay to, or we make the colorless, then we cast Banishing Knack, we return it, we bounce it to our hand, we use the colorless and the cost reduction, so colorless and 1 to cast it again, or tap, bring back. Is that mana neutral? No, so it's two mana. No, it needs to have 2 cost reducers to do that, right?
I think, yeah, you need 2 cost reducers.
Otherwise, it's one mana to do.
Yeah, like with 3, it would be mana, like colorless mana positive. I still think
it would be like a fireball, he said, which, hey, you know what? Actually, that's like, if you have 10 mana in play,
Yeah, that's also.
I think I'm going to drop it in considering right now. It feels like a little too edge case.
I like the fact that it can fireball. Honestly,
yeah.
that's kind of a bigger deal than Pristine Talisman slowly gaining things over
Yep.
time, because we are going to be draining people.
It's
There
it's
might
a.
be a block that's worth cutting. However, I did find a cut that I think we should look at.
By the
It
way,
is
I want to comment on that. I like to call those half chub combos, where it's not a full raging combo, but it's a half chub that can still kill people.
You know, it's just enough to get the job done.
Yep.
So there, I found a cut. I think this card is too cute. It resides in the 9 cards that you have marked as removal, and I think we should be able to find it from there. I think that it's not worth me just saying what it is right off the bat, because I think as a consensus, if we look at the pieces in the removal pile and come to which one is the worst.
Is it capsize?
No.
Is it curfew?
Yes. I think it's curfew. It's too cute.
I mean, curfew.
It doesn't. So it's instant speed removal, right? And our instant speed removal needs to specifically stop combos.
It's also instant speed protection.
Yeah, but I think like the amount of redundancy and combos that we have access to, we don't need to protect the we can threaten it and like remove interaction from our opponent's hands, and then just be like, cool, I still have a million cards in my hand because I just cast Rush of Knowledge or Thought Cast like twice, or whatever. I think curfew doesn't fill the role that we want removal to fill, which is we are going to live through everything except for a combo, and curfew doesn't guarantee deal with a combo.
Is it possible it's actually Sword Coast Serpent instead? Because curfew does have the benefit of being an edict.
It does hit everybody, but like, who cares? Sword Coast Serpent kills people.
Yeah. I'm not on board with cutting curfew, and the main reason is that it's allowing us to either protect things, or we can use it to like return a Peregrine Drake to reuse it during a combo turn. We could even use it to like regain the initiative. We can use it to protect things. We can use it to edict a creature off the board that's hard to get rid of. It does a lot.
What was the second thing that you came to on it? And like, if we do want to edict, I would say like the edicts we should be considering if we need edicts shouldn't be curfew. I think it should be Fleshbag.
Oh, just play a Fleshbag?
Right, like I guess in our deck we are better at picking up instants and sorceries, but I wouldn't do curfew at that point. I would do Miracle's Edict or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's trying to generate more value than we.
What about Sky Scanner?
Sky Scanner.
3 mana, 1/1, draw a card flying. I think that could go.
Well, so let's look at the fail cases on Chrome Courier.
Chrome Courier is way better.
But what is the fail case?
What do you mean the fail case?
It doesn't I don't think it guaranteed draws a card.
It does. Yeah, you look at the top 2 cards, you put one of them into your hand and the other one in your graveyard. If it was an artifact card, you gain 3 life. So it's Seagate Oracle, but it gains life in this deck and it flies.
Okay, so it's probably Sky Scanner then.
Look at that! Whoa, we got to do this the celebratory thing. For those of you who haven't been in the chat before, we always go back and we take a hard look at that 100, that 000, and celebrate for a moment the hard work it took to get to that round number there. Awesome. I would like to take this through a couple rounds of playtesting here to just see what it is we've created. Chat won't be able to see all of the playtest here. It looks like you can see the corner of this island here, which is good. Okay, so we've got a land light hand with Azorius Chancery and Island and Lantern. Trinket Mage. Trinket Mage is going to get Everflowing Chalice, so we're gonna play it.
Okay, I was gonna say you should do a poll here. Keeper Mulligan.
Yeah, good question. So if we just said we didn't have this and this was in hand, keep
See that Azorius Chancery coming in major clutch there? It's huge. I love that.
Yeah, Chancery making hands like this playable. Yeah. I think that this is to me it seems like a keep. Because we essentially have multiple land drops. We'll mulligan though if chat thinks we should do otherwise.
We got a general consensus on the keep, I think.
Cool. Good talk. Island, go, draw. There's another land. That's perfect. We are going to have to pitch something to the graveyard. So we're going to float. Bring a land back.
We don't want to do that. I don't think it's worth it with the Karoo. Just play the island.
But if we do this, we guarantee that we play Lantern of Revealing next turn.
So what do we dip?
This.
What's the far left?
Protective Sphere. This is the most redundant. So we drop this into our graveyard. And then we go next turn. And it kind of hurts that we had to do that. But look, like we're going to hit our land drops. We're going to get our mana under us. This is all good. So we play land. So we've currently got five mana. I think what we do is go 1, 2, 3, 4 Trinket Mage. And we go Everflowing Chalice maybe? Or we could go we could get Moon Snare Prototype as another one that we could deploy right away and then leave Everflowing Chalice in the deck.
I like...
Oh, you know what? We got Core Skyfisher to return Everflowing Chalice. So we get Chalice. We play Chalice on 1. And then we pass. And we go Mind Stone into... let's see. Core Skyfisher. Returning this. Playing this. Casting it. And then we go Moonsnare Prototype, probably. Actually, we've got Battered Golem.
Mana rocks were producing colorless mana. It should be fine.
We could grab Tormod's Crypt here in anticipation for the combo. So we get Tormod's Crypt. Because then Tormod's Crypt with Battered Golem, we're getting close.
That's fair. I mean, if we're goldfishing it to see how quickly like a combo just happens, that's fine. I think in a normal game state there, I would probably just grab like either a land or Aether Spellbomb. Just like protect against there's no way I would be going for a combo that soon just because the other people at the table are gonna stop it.
Yeah, right. We're kind of like loading up.
Oh, there's the Mnemonic Wall. I like to see that.
But we don't have anything to use it on. So I think what we do is we go 1, 2, 3, 4.
You do have something to like in the form of capsize because you currently have enough mana to capsize and buy it back. So that means you can kind of just sit back for a bit.
Is this a must?
And then like if somebody does counterspell the capsize, you can still pick it up.
He said Vault of Whispers was a good grab. That would have been the line because we missed our land drop there. We could have grabbed any. Okay, yeah. Let's just bottom this, shuffle it, and we're actually gonna get a dual land. We're gonna get the because we were tapped out anyways. So bridge. We're gonna get the black, blue.
That'll be black white, right? There's so many.
We've got double white.
Yeah, but like so we're gonna draw, and the way that we turn on Mystic Sanctuary is gonna be an island anyways, and the deck is filled with them.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, Bear. That absolutely is the right grab. So yeah, we do that. We're just going to play Sky Swimmer Koi this turn, I think. And then maybe Protective Sphere. Like that. And then...
There is a part of me that wishes Sky Swimmer's Koi was a card draw spell right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, me too. So... we go 1, 2, 3... Or 1, 2, 3... Let's see. We got to get black. So yeah, this here. Oh, we need actually a white in there as well. So we got to go this, that, and this for Sludge Strider. And then we play our artifact land for turn. And we're going to pay 1 to drain. And then we've got 4 mana here, which, you know, maybe we're just doing this, you know, protecting from some stuff. We could loot right now if we wanted to with Sky Swimmer Koi, because we just played this. So let's loot away the capsize, knowing that we can get it back with Pneumatic Wall. And then we go 1, 2, 3 for Foundry Inspector, and we pay 1 for that too. And then we draw. We're going to go 1, 2, Arcane Signet. Here, we're going to pay 1 to trigger that. Or actually, Arcane Signet's only 1 mana here. So we'll pay 1 to do that. Actually, I think we're going to keep our Mind Stone open for sacking. So then we pay... So that's 2 for that. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Okay, yep. And we play Pneumatic Wall. We get back Capsize.
Sacking your mana ramp artifacts is a pretty big... I mean, right now the combo line isn't going to look like dramatic, but it's a big deal for the dramatic thing. That might be pressure for our KO Mender.
Yeah, that's possible. It's definitely possible. Get these things organized here. So we got Spellbomb and Battered Golem and Capsize. I think at this point we hold up. We just like play. This is free actually, so we just pay 1 for that to drain. We sit here and we turtle up with Capsize and with Go for the Throat and Protective Sphere.
And when you don't have something to do, like if you don't have to, you just Lantern.
Yep. So let's just say we have to go 1. So we have to do this and maybe this to pay for Protective Sphere. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, Lantern, getting Deadly Dispute. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we want the cards.
Yep. So yeah, we'll leave it on top. And then we'll draw for turn. What are we sacrificing here, though?
Either Core Skyfisher or Trinket.
Yep, I think it's Core Skyfisher. So we go, Core Skyfisher.
On the battlefield, Core Skyfisher will generate different, like more diverse value than Trinket Mage if we happen to bounce it.
And we're going to make a treasure token like this. We could pay, but I don't think we need to. Okay, we do have we are close. Actually, we do have a combo already. Look, this is the combo right here. Battered Golem, Vanishing Knack, flickering this for infinite ETBs. Or, yeah, so 1, 2, Battered Golem. And then if it survives, which we can protect it, right? We can protect it with Aether Spellbomb or with the Sword Coast Serpent. So let's say somebody goes to kill it. We go Sword Coast Serpent, bounce it to our hand. This goes into exile. We draw a card. Ah, look at that. So now we go...
So the Mirren Spy is going to do the same thing as the Battered Golem here, right? Except for it avoids the haste problem because we'll already have creatures in play the majority of the time.
What is Mirren Spy then?
It untaps... I gotta double check, but I'm pretty sure...
I think it's the same, isn't it?
Well, Mirren Spy untaps something else. Battered Golem untaps itself, so it needs to untap. So yeah, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may untap target creature. And
wow.
Battered Golem is the same. It's an artifact ETB, right?
But it's a haste problem.
Yeah, so the Mirren Spy gets by that haste problem.
Is it a 1/3?
It is a 1/3.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, so... And it also opens up like later deck alterations if it comes down to it. Some of the ramp pieces might be some of the ramp pieces might be better as like artifact creatures that are ramp. Maybe not right now, but that's just a thing to keep in mind.
Yep. So we actually, this right here is this right here with Sky Swimmer Koi wins us the game, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
What do we go find?
Yeah, so we draw through our whole deck, right?
Right.
Draw through the whole deck, and then we get maybe Peregrine Drake or something.
Yeah,
and then we can Banishing Knack the Peregrine Drake.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, see you later, Fabricio. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, Fabricio, it was great having you in chat. Thank you so much, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Ciao, bella. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So we want to go and let's make this change right away here. Battered Golem I liked because it was an artifact, but Mirren Spy is untapping something else.
Like, sure, you need to have a creature in play, but we got 21 of them.
Oh yeah, there's so many. Yeah, Mirren Spy.
The great thing is there will be a cool follow-up stream where we basically have to reevaluate all of this once
when the new cards come out. Yeah, it'll be very, very brutal and hard. So Battered Golem, do we keep Battered Golem and just cut something else?
Nah, Steelfin Whale is better than Battered Golem.
Yeah, Battered Golem feels like it's the one that goes. Okay, cool. Well, let's run one more of these things through here. This is a great opening hand.
However, I did feel kind of shticked on the card draw. There might be, like, there seems to be enough creatures. I don't know if Golem, like, even through that play pattern, I'm kind of soft on Golem Foundry, but it also might be that the Koi did just win the game there, so it's hard to make an argument against it. But I want, I think, another draw 3 in the deck. Because that mnemonic wall would have been so much bigger than it was if we had had another draw 3.
Let's cast this right here. We go top 2. Oh god, that's such a good draw. I don't really want to bin either one of these, unfortunately, but I think we keep Sojourner's Companion.
Nah, Sojourner's Companion is replaceable. Reckoner's Bargain is a hard draw.
Yep, so we get this here. We don't gain the 3 life. We go 1, 2, Felwar Stone. Oh, chat can't see all this stuff because it's all like smushed over onto the side. I am so sorry, everyone.
It's also just really weird because I'm hearing you in real time and watching the stream.
Oh, so yeah.
The audio like weirdly desynced.
Yeah, I know that it's a little dissociating, I'm sure. Okay, so this is all really good. We could go... well, we do have Steelfin Whale. Its cost is reduced by 2 right now, so it's 4 mana. I think we start... but see, the thing with this Reckoner's Bargain is we already had Deadly Dispute, you know? So
I couldn't see it over on the phone.
Yeah, so let's just throw this back in there and do that differently. We'll go 1, 2, Deadly Dispute, sacking this, draw 2, make a token, treasure. So now we have 3 artifacts. We have 4 artifacts.
The treasure is what we would then sacrifice to Reckoner's Bargain. That's absolutely correct still. Right, just like draw more cards.
Oh yeah, draw a fuck zillion cards. Yeah, okay. So here we do the Reckoner's Bargain. Actually, no, what we could do is before we do that, we've got a variety of artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4 in play. So that means, but we don't have the affinity creature, but we do have this. So we can cast this for 2. 1, 2. And then we go 1, 2, sacrifice the treasure token, draw 2 more, cast a Moon Snare prototype, tapping the Steelfin Whale to cast an Aether Spellbomb, which untaps it. That was a good turn. Then
the Moonsware prototype is really good with the Battered Golem, but it's so good with Steelfin. Like, that's fine.
So now...
Wait, did you play Seat that turn?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Would that not also untap Steelfin?
It would.
So do we have 2 mana to work with?
Oh, so one way to look at this is we go, before we cast this, we tap this for mana.
Because otherwise I would have just played that Dimir Aqueduct, like just get it down.
So tap this.
That would mean that the seed could be more mana on another turn.
3, cast this, untap this, and then we just kind of have like nothing to do right now.
Yeah, we're out of card draw.
We could sack this for cards, which I think we are going to do. We're going to sack it. We're going to pay the 1 for Sludge Strider. We're going to draw a card. And we'll go to our next turn. Sneak was a good draw. So we go 1. So we're going to go tap Steelfin Whale for 1. Play Seed of the Synod. Untap it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast Sneak, which isn't really that good right now. I'll admit it. We actually need a Plains.
Actually, it's... What's the card on the far left of your hand?
This is Sword Coast Serpent.
Okay, well, so like that's a fine thing, because it could have been unsung. That would also be a line, but the thing is, we have Ghostly Flicker and Displace to just kind of like power through the initiative if we want to.
Yep, that's right. So in this case here, we basically just like wait for anything to happen, and then we go...
You Ghostly Flicker the Sneak and the Seed of the Synod, and use the Seed of the Synod to pay for Sludge Strider's ability, and that untaps Steelfin Whale, meaning that you get to do it one.
Let's assume...
That's insane.
So we flicker this, and then we get some... Do we scry too?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are there lines with Moonsnare prototype in play that... So like Mirren Spy, Moonsnare prototype, and a Steelfin Whale, where when you're Ghostly Flickering, if you hit 2 lands that you generate... I'm trying to... Wait.
How does this work together?
I think so there might
be... Like if we flick
a combo line between like Moonsnare prototype, Mirren Spy, Archaeomancer, Artifact Land, and a Steelfin Whale.
Oh man, that is so beyond me.
I don't know if I'll figure it out later, but there might be even more combo lines in this deck than we thought.
So these are the things.
I don't think that produces the mana that we need, though.
So we don't need Sky Swimmer Koi, do we? Or actually we do, because we want to loot right now. We want to get rid of this shit. So let's say Sky Swimmer on top, Decanter underneath it. This was for Scry.
No, Decanter just to the bottom. There's so many artifacts that ramp in the deck. Usually, when I'm playing East Sphinx, I'm just throwing them to the bottom. The main thing that we want right now is just more card draw, because more card draw will find more card draw, and we'll find the things that we want eventually.
I was just thinking that when I play Sky Swimmer Koi, I'll pitch a land and then get the Decanter.
Nah, bottom the Decanter and dig for card draw.
Okay, cool. So bottom, okay, like that, and then the untapping the land didn't really do any. Oh no, we get to pay for it. Yeah, okay, cool. So we did that. And then next turn we're gonna draw Sky Swimmer. So we'll go pay here 1, 2, 3, 4 Sky Swimmer Koi. Then we can go 1, 2. Do we do sort? Do we do like Ghostly Flicker to make some stuff ETB?
You very well could.
We could do this at instant speed, though.
Have we been missing Aarakocra Sneak things? Like, did we miss a Scry too?
Nope, we just did that. We're all good there. So what I'm going to do is put this into play, and then we're going to pass the turn, and then when somebody goes to interact with us, we're going to Ghostly Flicker, the Aarakocra Sneak, and the Sky... Let's see, wait, no, we go... We really need an ETB to, like, start digging, but we could also just, like, flicker the initiative. We could... Because this is
like,
not...
I think the best on board right now is Sky Swimmer an ETB or a cast?
ETB. So maybe we ETB these.
The artifact land.
So flicker this and flicker the sneak.
Sneak and the artifact land.
Yep, so we're going to go one more in. We're going to make a treasure. And then we are going to draw one. We're going to loot away this, let's see, swamp. And we've got another trigger here, right? So we've got this and the land. So we're going to loot again, pitching the swamp. And then maybe we have to bounce something. And then we draw. And this turn we just go one. Oh, we actually have to do the initiative, which would be this time we'd have to make a 4-1 because we went down the wrong side. So we'll just do, we're going to do a day and night token for that 4-1. And then we go 2 for Core Skyfisher, because now we're at 4. And we return Aristocrats Sneak. Oh, actually, instead of this, we go 1 white, tap Moon Snare, tap this for that. And then we return Sneak. We play Sneak. Throne of the Dead 3. Oh my. Oh my. Oh. That's really interesting. Do we take Foundry Inspector? Interesting. Yeah, so many different ways to go about doing this.
You know, I think I've often found that when I've tried to do Retraction Helix stuff, that surprisingly I end up cutting Foundry Inspector and Starnheim Courser and those kind of things. I don't know if that's going to be the play here, since 45 of your cards are artifacts. I'm sitting here constantly seeing these turns where I'm like, man, I sure wish I had a draw 3 right now.
Yeah. Instead of the Koi.
He got so much mana. It's just like reaching for anything to do with it.
And are you saying instead of the Koi?
I was thinking that since they don't reduce the cost of those draw 3s, I would say the Foundry Inspector, even though that like kind of adds to the combo lines, they're like weird combo cards where your deck is already so mana like stable that the Ethereum Sculptor, the Foundry Inspector, the Starnheim Courser might actually not be doing as much as it seems. Like, they reduce the cost of many of the cards in your deck, which seems like a huge deal, but I don't think it actually does that much.
So you're saying that like these here, I
know that sounds crazy, but like it doesn't really matter how reduced they are if you don't have spells to cast. So just having spells to cast might be the big deal.
Interesting. So they kind of like accelerate us into our rocks if we get them early. But
and
like
they accelerate us into not having anything to do.
Interesting. So maybe these want to be card draw spells? It's kind of funny. Like, are we really losing? Are we losing anything if we cut those? We're kind of losing the line where we have Cabal Paladin, one of these, and then an Arcane Signet, for example.
Yeah, but like, how many pieces do we really need to go infinite?
They're not really that important, are they? Like, these cards work best with the Ashnod's Altar combo, where you actually need the cost reduction to make the combo work.
Yeah, like we have less pieces now in the deck if you cut those that make the combo happen, except for if every single one of those, or if 2 of those was replaced with a draw 3 and one of them was replaced with instant speed removal, you're gonna actually feel like you're playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing it at the super efficient everything costs less level, but you're still like interacting and making choices, which is what wins you games, not sitting there without cards in hand.
What about, so then we add compulsive research, maybe?
No. The 5 mana draw 3s, Ryan.
Oh, well, first of all, Siphon Mind.
Oh, Siphon Mind is huge game.
Yeah, I forgot about
Siphon
that.
Mind. I like Brilliant Plan and Brilliant Plan's better cousin that was printed in Eldraine with the Adamant keyword. I like Mental Journey a lot.
Oh, you know what? Secrets of the Golden City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
that one.
3 mana, draw 3 with Ascend. We're always gonna have Ascend. Okay, those are some good finds.
How do I always forget about Secrets of the Golden City? It's like my favorite card.
It's an easy one to forget about. I understand. I was right there with you.
I mean, I like the way this looks. You're welcome to keep playtesting. I've got to head out here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We are pretty deep into this stream here. We are on a little over 3 hours right now, and I think we've got a good figure here. The only question then is like, do we want to add one more card draw spell? Do we want to add another mana rock? Maybe another land?
One of those two. I would say a card draw spell.
Card draw spell? Okay. And what was the spell we were thinking of?
If it's the adamant one, because I think it's mostly it's just got to draw 3 cards is my deal here.
Adamant. Unexplained vision?
Unexplained vision, yeah.
Whoa. I didn't know that card existed.
This card's gas.
Huh.
It is a better version of Brilliant Plan.
What if we did Behold the Multiverse for 4 instead and instant speed?
Yeah, the main thing is that it does, like, Behold the Multiverse is -1/+2. This is -1/+3. That's the big difference for me. I know it doesn't sound like a lot because one of them scries 2. It's the card like having things to do with your mana is what you care about, not that they're quality, because we don't have like this issue of needing to cast the right spell at the right time. When you have enough mana, you just need to cast more spells, because that's why Aether Sphinx is just so stupid.
Yeah.
Is because it just does more than the opponent. It doesn't really matter what it's doing. It's just always doing more.
So one last question for you before you go. Should we be playing Merchant Scroll?
I was looking at it. I was literally just looking at
Ghostly Flicker, Dramatic Reversal, Retraction Helix, like all of those. It also happens to hit Reckoner's Bargain. No, it does not, because those are not blue. Counter spells, I guess, but Perilous Research. It does hit Perilous Research. I think Merchant Scroll is actually pretty slam dunk.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's 1 for 1, but the things that we're looking for are important.
No, like, there's not a lot of decks that are good with tutors, but this is certainly one of them. Like, that hits... Merchant Scroll being a majority of your combo pieces while also just finding other weird gas.
Yeah,
Can Merchant Scroll find Sword Coast Serpent?
I don't think that it can, because Sword Coast Serpent, when it's in your hand and in your library as a creature, and when it's cast on the stack, it is Capsizing Wave. So
the other big draw 3 to consider is Mental Journey, because it has basic land cycling, which in the early game can be huge, and then you can just pick it up with an Archaeomancer later.
Mental Journey is 5 mana draw 3?
It's a 6 mana draw 3 at instant speed with basic land cycling.
Interesting. Is Thoughtcast like... It's 1 mana draw 2, right?
1 mana draw 2. That's like the only draw 2 that I run in E-Sphinx because it's that cheap.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You could also, like, in favor of also hitting land drops early, just to throw more considerations into the consideration pile, Striped Riverwinder being a 7 mana 5/5 hexproof is kind of gas, but the fact that it cycles for 1 blue is not nothing. Like, early game, it just kind of turns into the next thing, and in the late game it sits there and it looks very scary.
Yeah, it does. It's just, any of the big hexproof things are going to do that. Jonathan says, I see 100 cards. Well done. It only took 3 hours. Yeah, well, actually, I think it really, like, the last couple of changes I think it took 2 hours to get us to 100, and then the last hour has been like playtesting and like talking about the format and dithering over the last 2 cards, and then we realized that we wanted more card draw, so we went and added it and cut the cost reducers. Yeah, but I think we're chugging along here. Cool. I think we are gonna call this list quits for now.
Do you mind if I do my sign-offs, my plugs, and then I'll let you go?
Absolutely.
All right. So you can find me on Twitter at Noyark_MTG. I don't do a lot of posting there, but I'm involved with some other content creators. I've been featured on a couple videos over at youtube.com/the Possibility Storm, where he does competitive Pauper EDH monthlies. And if you want to see the Aethersworn Sphinx that we've talked about a couple times in action, that is a video over on his channel. Otherwise, the Tryhards Discord is in the description here, and I am frequently active there. So if you want to interact with me, that's the spot to be at. Otherwise, take it away, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. And give a couple of moments of gratitude here. Thank you, Noyark, for sticking around, dude, and for helping make this happen. It was really fun to have you jump from chat to straight into a Discord call during the stream. So that was great.
Happy to be
here. Yeah, fantastic. And to all the people who stuck around for the stream, whether you're here for the beginning or whether you checked in later on when you saw it, thank you so much for coming and joining us today and for supporting our content with your eyeballs. If you haven't yet and you have a moment and you think that this content is worth it, feel free to drop a like on the video to support what we're doing. And if you want to see more of the videos we're making, which we're producing quite a bit of, go and hit that subscribe button and that'll give you notifications when more stuff comes out. The structure of our content currently is going to be intermittent stuff where I'm hopping into play a game and I will just randomly go live. And the other ones are going to be a mixture of recorded content and then Let's Brew videos like this one. The Let's Brew videos happen every Monday. Then I will be streaming also on Wednesdays. So keep an eye out for those. And one of the best ways to do that is just by subscribing so you get notifications about them. But yeah, happy Halloween to you all. Hope you have a great and spooky evening. For those of you in other parts of the world that are ahead of us, I hope you had a great time then too. And yeah, I think it is time for us to sign off. And
sometime soon, y'all might see a video about a cool Sphinx of the Guild Pact that we could.
Ooh, that's right. Yeah, for those of you who you should keep an eye out. We've got some more content that Noyark and I are going to make together. So, anyways, sayonara. Have a good one. Connoisseurs of fine common cardboard. Have a great evening. Peace out.